evening, everybody. Welcome to the Glassell Park Neighborhood Council General Community Stakeholders Meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, July 19th, and we're going to be starting at 7:06, if that clock is correct. My name is Molly Lynn Taylor, and I'm the interim chairperson and the business representative to the Neighborhood Council. We are not going to take roll at this moment, but I would like to provide the opportunity for the board to introduce themselves. So I'll go ahead and start over with Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm Area 3 rep. Hi, I'm Bree.
Larry, Area 6.
I'm Sandy Garcia, the Ed rep.
Brian Frobisher, live in Area 4, I'm the faith-based rep.
Laura Cuban, I'm Area 1 rep.
Heather Thomas, Area 4.
And Benjamin Dysinger, at-large rep.
And just as a clarification, we're not taking roll. This is just an introduction. Roll call will be taken later for purposes of quorum. Okay, so tonight we're moving on to item number 2. We have some guest speakers here with us this evening. First on the agenda is Anna Mizar. Anna, are you here this evening? No. Okay, she may be arriving late. Next up on the agenda is Pilar Quistes. Did I say that right? Quistes from Providence in Coast Park. And if Robert would like to translate, then that's great, but Sandy's going to translate for us? Okay, so I'd like to welcome Pilar this evening and provide 10 minutes for you to speak.
Buenas tardes o buenas noches. Mi nombre es Pilar Quispe, soy la coordinadora del grupo de padres voluntarios del Juntos Padres. Mi nombre es Pilar Quispe y soy la coordinadora del grupo de padres voluntarios del Juntos Padres.
And so her name is Pilar, and she is the coordinator of the volunteers of the Los Juntos Park.
Tengo trabajando con estas mamás apenas 6 meses.
And she's been working with the moms for 6 months.
Pero ya he estado en el área de Cypress ya por 3 años.
And she's been at Cypress for 3 years.
Pero me gustaría que hablaran más las mamás, así que voy a comenzar por presentar a Lupita.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Guadalupe Soto, pertenezco al grupo de padres Juntos Park.
Her name is
Guadalupe Soto.
Guadalupe Soto, and she is part of the Juntos Park volunteers.
Tengo una niña de 13 años
She has a 13-year-old
y 2 niños.
and 2 boys.
Y está incluso en la primera de clase en PAR, en Andita,
Okay, so she lives on Andrita,
desde hace 18 años.
18 years there.
La razón que estoy en este grupo porque me gustaría ser parte, mejorar mi comunidad, porque aquí vivimos, quiero un mejor ambiente para mis hijos.
She wants to make the community better and have a better environment for her children.
Donde todos estuviéramos unidos y poder trabajar juntos para mejorar nuestra comunidad.
Where we can all work together to make it a better place.
Es por eso que estamos organizados, haciendo limpiezas alrededor de nuestro barrio.
So they're cleaning up the neighborhood in their area.
Hemos tenido eventos como un almuerzo para el Día de la Amistad, para el Día de las Madres.
For Mother's Day and Friendship Day, they had a breakfast.
Hemos estado en el foro con el capitán de la policía y otras actividades más que hemos estado haciendo.
So they had activities including the LAPD.
Nos gustaría contar con su apoyo para ver qué se puede hacer para continuar ayudando a mejorar nuestra comunidad.
And they would like to see how we can help the neighborhood council to continue to improve the community in their area.
Y para eso les paso a mi compañera María.
And so she's going to have Maria speak.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es María Pérez.
And good evening, my name is Maria Perez.
Vivo en la comunidad de Estara y la Luz
Okay.
hace aproximadamente 19 años.
So she's been living in the community of Astara and Drew in Aibra
Sí.
for 19 years.
Soy mamá de 2 niñas, una de 19 y otra de 16.
She has 2 daughters, one 19 and one 16.
Uno de los motivos por el
cual estamos aquí es para que nos ayuden a ver qué se puede hacer con el no control de renta en las propiedades.
Okay, she wants to see how we can help out with the rent control of the places where they're living.
Es por esta causa que estamos en disposición de no control de renta de nuestra comunidad. Después de varios años,
Many families have been leaving the community because of the rise in rent, and they've been living here for many years.
porque el pedir que nos arreglen donde vivimos, nos suben la renta en una forma indiscriminada.
They raise the rent very high that they can't pay.
Queremos vivir dignamente y es por eso que somos parte del trabajo para que se vea mejor nuestra comunidad.
They want to live decently, and that's another reason why they're also trying to make their community better.
Esperamos su apoyo en esta iniciativa que queremos comenzar en organizar eventos para nuestros parques de Pocospa.
They want to get help for their initiative to continue to improve their community with this park area.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for our guest speakers this evening? Brian?
What kind of help would they like at the park? Monetary or anything or?
¿Qué apoyo buscan en el parque? Por ejemplo, ¿quieren que la gente los apoye con días que están limpiando en comunidad o necesitan dinero?
El parque estaba, cuando lo abrieron, tenía como una fuente de agua, el cual la han cerrado, nada más estaría por un año o menos del año, la han cerrado, los niños van allá. Hay mucho, se puede decir que pandillerismo, porque ahí van las personas que le ponen a la droga, a tomar, y la familia no puede estar junto con los que están usando droga. Por ejemplo, si yo voy con mi niña recién nacido, ¿a qué la llevo a mi niña? ¿A que absorba eso? Sí. Y es por eso que es lo que queremos, que nos ayuden. Porque no nada más en ese parque. Hay varios parques que van a hacer el vicio ahí.
So that they're continuing to see a lot of crime in the park, drugs, gangs, so that they don't feel safe going, and at whatever time they can go, there's always some activity that's questionable there. So we want help with that, maybe decreasing the crime.
Are there any other questions from the board or from the audience?
I was wondering if maybe you guys might put together a petition with all of the people you know who have their rents raised on them, maybe with some numbers that represent how much it's been raised by over what period of time, so that, you know, we can help you figure out who to take this petition to.
Está diciendo que si quizás pueden hacer una petición con firmas y también datos que dicen qué tanto se ha subido la renta, o sea, darles, estaba aquí y se subió a tal cantidad, para que ellos quizás cuando reciben la petición pueden decirles a dónde lo pueden entregar.
Is there a question over here, Laura?
I'm wondering if maybe through Robert and Pilar, get their contact information so we can work more, because I'm the representative for your area, so I'd like to know when these events are, the Mother's Day events, I know the movie night, so we can bring more people there to help out and to help you make that part of everyone in Gosler Park.
Y Laura, que es su representante, quiere su contacto, información de contacto, y también para que ella pueda saber las actividades que van a pasar en el futuro y para que puedan ir a gente, para que puedan ver más gente allí. Yo también quisiera la misma cosa, porque yo les apoyé desde a la comunidad. Pues yo todavía, no, encantada, yo quiero seguir, Laura también nosotros aquí, queremos seguir apoyándolos también así, de esa manera. So I just told them that I also am interested in like Laura to get information about when activities are coming and to be a part of it.
I noticed that on our agenda later in 10E, we might be establishing some ad hocs or homelessness liaison and public safety and emergency preparedness that might fall into this. And so maybe once that's established, we can revisit and get back in contact and work through.
I think that the group should be reminded that they contacted the community officer, Officer Chang, and Officer Reyes. They're very good about responding to these things. They've done it in Highland Park, they've done it in other areas. And the other thing for housing, they have the housing authority doing a great job on this about rents. I don't know if you need to go through the petition, and you got to contact, I don't know, City One is here represented, but they're also very concerned about rents and also about this type of.
Hay un grupo de la autoridad de casas, Housing Authority, que pueden contactar y poner en la policía, hay el señor Reyes, que les puede apoyar también. There was a comment maybe that I forgot.
And I can give you their phone number.
O él puede darles el número de contacto.
I think it was Helene's liaison suggestion.
Oh, sí, aquí en la cuenta, cuando llegan a la página 2, vamos a hablar acerca de, let's see, liaison, Robert, help me on that one.
I know.
Ay, ¿cómo se dice? Vamos a escoger a una persona que va a representar la gente que no tiene casa, la gente que no tiene lugar para vivir, y también otro para la seguridad de la pública y emergencias. So vamos a escoger a 2 personas que van a estar encargadas de esas posiciones en la comunidad.
Creo que sí es muy importante por el día de la limpieza, ahí en la flecha, había un señor que era homeless, estaba viviendo aquí en su casa.
Vive en su
Pero
casa.
lo pude limpiar porque es campo.
Oh.
Entonces
¿En
sería
la Fletcher y qué?
Fletcher y la...
Okay. Fletcher and Green. There was a homeless person living in their car in Fletcher and 32.
And this is all CD13, correct? Okay, so Hector is here. Have you all connected with one another? Okay,
And not about this one, but I'll think this all of this.
okay, sounds great.
And maybe give them the number for Luis Reyes to report any suspicious activity so that they can patrol that area.
Tal vez una de las cosas que me gustaría ver, como dice parte de la petición, a ustedes es el apoyo para traer más recursos, para más actividades al parque. Por ejemplo, hoy estuve ahí jugando y llegaron un grupo de muchachos con cerveza tomando, había familias, había niños jugando, pero llegaron estos chicos con las cervezas en mano y todo. Y se ve que falta actividad ahí en ese parque. Es un buen parque, pero falta el potencial de traer más actividades. Así que yo quería traer zumba, juego de ajedrez, algo que y para eso necesitamos, como dice, el apoyo.
Sí, está bonito el parque. She's saying how that, and I was at the park, Laura and I were at the park, and it's very beautiful and has a lot of potential, and they would like to see more activities, like perhaps a Zumba class, something having, it's just there. They would like to have more things that the kids can do in the park. This is the one on Chapman.
Yeah, Andrew, Mr. Chapman, Andrew.
If you Google it, it'll take you to studios. It's activities, so I finally found my way there.
But it's where Chapman drew
Yeah, I go into the parking lot sometimes and I see the gate arcs. That's open, sometimes not.
Nuestra próxima limpieza va a ser en septiembre, el tercer sábado de septiembre, así que están invitados que nos acompañen.
The third Saturday in September, they'll have a cleanup. A las 8:30, ¿es hora? O eran las 8, se me olvidó.
Ahora, ¿cuánto?
A las 8:30.
So the next cleanup is what's the date on that?
It is Saturday, September 17th, what?
Okay. And is there a flyer or is it just by word of mouth?
Work on that later.
Are there any other questions, any other comments? So before we go ahead and close this out and move on, I just want to take a moment and thank you all for the work that you do over in the DSR area for the most part. I really appreciate the time and commitment you have to your community, and also being here this evening to let us know what you're doing. And hopefully there's many opportunities for us to work together to improve all of us and work together.
Gracias por estar aquí y por hablar acerca de lo que está pasando en la comunidad allá de Drew, donde viven, y que está esperando que vamos a trabajar más juntos para mejorar la comunidad.
Thanks for translating.
Oh, you're welcome. Enlaces,
All right, so is Anna here this evening? No? Okay. Well, she'll be here at National Night Out, so something to look forward to. Okay, moving on to item number 3 on our agenda. We have official and public comments on non-agenda items. So we'll start with Gemma Jimenez. Gemma, are you here this evening? No? Okay, next up is Stephanie Romero from Assembly Member Jimmy Gomez's office. Hi.
I think I'd like to start tonight, I should say, it's a pleasure to meet brand new members, and I congratulate you for winning your elections and coming on board to serve a neighborhood, one of my favorite parts of town. I serve Assemblymember Gomez in the district in Glassell Park, and I oversee a few issue areas that primarily focus on transportation projects here in the district, public safety issues, health, really health-related, just basically everything related to health matters here in the district. Actually, until recently, also housing, the topic of housing and some of the challenges we're facing not only here in the district but statewide. I can start off with actually by sharing, I met with Pilar and the group a few months back, and part of our conversation involved establishing relationships with a lot of the organizations in the neighborhood. So I thank her for coming out here, and the mothers making some time, especially in the evenings when it's spend, of course, like many of you, you aren't spending with your children, instead you're doing here great work on behalf of our neighborhood. So I'm glad that they came out this way, and some of the conversations we were having about resources with senior lead officers, also what kind of funding is available for activities. It's part of a conversation we began a little bit ago, so I'm just glad that they're out here connecting with you. Brevemente les digo que tuvimos una conversación acerca del trabajo que están haciendo y ya hemos, parte de mi sugerencia en el momento que nos dijimos fue entablar relaciones con grupos o organizaciones dentro del vecindario que incluyen el grupo de Glassell Park. Entonces felicito por venir aquí. Okay. Move on to a couple different reports. And just because you mentioned Molly, I'm excited about National Night Out. It's a great thing we're doing. We're, I'd like to say, partnering in some way and trying to see which awesome trucks we can come in, bring in for you. Not only through some of our relationships in the private sector, but also through our agency, Caltrans in this case. And so what I'm trying to work out and see is if there is approval for overtime to have the trucks up here riding in Blackhawk. It's a busy part of town. So with that, I'll tell you, in the legislature, we are actually in summer session right now. Every Assembly and Senate representative has returned to their district. They're doing, connecting with folks that they don't always have a chance to see while they're flying every week back and forth to Sacramento. We have a number of things that are being considered in the Capitol. One of them, specifically on issues of housing, is a proposal that was introduced through the Assembly, which you may have heard about a little bit, where it's asking for approximately $1.3 billion worth of funding for a variety of issues related to homelessness, not only affordable housing, the development of it, but also an increase in funding for services to folks with mental illnesses, kind of looking at a variety of ways in which you can kind of help address the issue locally, but specifically here in Los Angeles area. It's always great, and for folks that aren't aware or maybe forgot, you have the President of the Senate and the Leader of the Assembly who are both from Southern California and Los Angeles area. So if there was ever a time to really kind of get in sync and make some headway on this topic, I think now is certainly a critical time. So I should be getting some more specifics on where we are with that particular bill when session's back when we're back in session, I should say. And that should be, I believe, let's see, in just a matter of a few weeks, about 2-3 weeks if I'm not mistaken. So it's a topic of timing, especially on housing here in the district. We want to always remind you, we're looking for ways in which we can partner with you. We have actually coming up, and this is kind of on the heels of some of our progress with the expansion to paid family leave. We're going to be hosting a roundtable next month on August 27th on the topic of paid family leave. Actually, a much larger conversation about different approaches being taken through policy, but also locally, local resources on strengthening families. Whether we're talking about really young ones or much older ones, if you're looking at maybe caring for a parent or someone that's very ill. I think at some point or another we can all think about a situation we've been impacted by personally, or maybe that someone we know is in the middle of. So I want to invite you to come in and attend. I should be kind of finalizing a little bit of the agenda so you have an idea kind of what will be, who will be participating, and what conversations or what topics we'll be including at the roundtable. Also, let's see, for September, early in September, we're going to be teaming up with the Northeast Division at the, actually trying to talk about activities and things. We wanted to invite folks to come in and check out the station, which is still brand new to many, many people. So you're lucky that you are in proximity to them, but some folks that are served by the division and aren't as close haven't had a chance to come by. So we're going to be hosting a women's self-defense course at the community room in partnership with the Cal State LA and their School of Kinesiology and Nutritional Science. And the idea is that we'd like to, at some point, have this really evolve into a series of courses that really look at overall wellness, not just a public safety component, but we have to start somewhere, so I push for that. So I hope you'll be on the lookout for that. As I mentioned that, and again, partnership opportunities, as a state office, we have resources that really can help do outreach. We don't have a discretionary fund, unfortunately, to put into specific events, but we do have great relationships that run regionally and statewide. So if there's ever something that you're planning that we can bring an expert in for to have an informational event, or if it's something much more fun. I mean, again, like the example of National Night Out and Caltrans and Trucks, we really want to come in and help support you and stay in touch. And with that, I think I'll move to questions. Do you have any questions?
Stephanie, for Northeast, parking is still up. Is it possible that you're already businesses in the area, so I mean, it's getting out.
I've actually been working on those. I can touch on that when I'm not active with it.
Thank you. The class will be in the morning, and we have to set it because the community room doesn't allow too many people, and plus equipment, we'll have to, I believe, keep it to 30 folks and participate for this initial course. But it is something that we're working out, and as folks call to RSVP, we're making sure that they know exactly where they can come and park without having it impact so much some of the businesses. I mean, we really, I think for anyone that really tries to come out and stay in touch, you realize parking is a big issue, not only at the station, but citywide. But we're also very fortunate at the station that some of the neighboring businesses, when it's a real slow downtime for them, they've been very welcoming of folks coming in and using their parking. So appreciate you mentioning it, and I will not forget it.
Any other questions?
Since the
August 27th. It will be held at the Eagle Rock Recreation Center's Child Care Building. And I have a few things that are cooking right now, specifically for that here officially in Glass Zone Park, but I haven't been able to confirm that. So as soon as I can, I want to get your hopes up. I'll be sharing that.
Oh, you tell us a little bit, I can't stand it.
Oh no, thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we move on, we have dinner here this evening, so if you're hungry, please help yourself to fruit salad and then wraps from Spitz and Eagle Rock. So please help yourself whenever someone comes. Next up is Amanda Mejia from the Mayor's Office. Amanda, are you here this evening? I don't see her. No. Okay, Jose Rodriguez from CD1, he said he will not be joining us this evening. Dr. Vega, CD13, welcome.
It's always here.
Alright, so for those of you that haven't met me, my name is Hector Vega with Councilmember O'Farrell's office. And as always, here's my report for any of you to read up on any hot topics or any big picture stuff that I'm working in Glass Zone Park. I'll leave it here by the food since I know we're all hungry. I'll just go over a few things real quick. So first of all, the River Recreation Zone is open in Elysian Valley. That was a thing that the councilman worked on when he first came into office. So basically, you can go in there and enjoy the LA River. You can go and kayak and enjoy the beautiful resource that we have here. So it's open to everybody. You can go in and come on in, and it'll be open from about until about late September. I think the 25th is when it's scheduled, or until it's scheduled to be open. So plenty of time to go out there and enjoy it. It's really great. And kayaking is really fun there. I haven't gone there specifically. I went up to the Stakeholder Basin last year, but I hear Elysian Valley is really nice too. So I encourage you all to go and enjoy it. Also, the Frogtown Art Walk is also coming to Elysian Valley. For those of you that are not aware of it, basically there's a lot of like artisans and small arts and crafts stores that are in that northern portion of Elysian Valley. And every year they've had a art walk where they just open up their businesses to the public for folks to just take it all in and have some music, have some food, purchase some items, what have you. So they close down the streets. It's very pedestrian friendly. It's a really great event. So they'll be celebrating their 10th annual art walk this year. So I encourage you all to go and enjoy that as well. So that'll be really great. Also, National Night Out will be happening right here in Glass Zone Park. So I encourage you all to come out and join us for that one. That will be the 2nd of August from about 6 to 9 p.m. Just a few things. I know I've mentioned this every time, but just in case if people forget or haven't heard, the Pleasure Streetscape is coming in. So just so you all are aware, basically from about San Fernando Road to Avenue 36, we're going to be reducing traffic to one lane on each side, each direction. The reason for that is traffic calming to basically slow down the traffic coming down Fletcher Drive. There's 2 schools nearby, and there's a lot of pedestrians, constantly going around that area. So we want to make sure that it's safe. So part of the department's recommendations was to reduce what they call a road diet. Basically, remove 1 lane of traffic on each side, bring it down to 1 lane, and then bike lanes. So those will connect to the network on the Eagle Rock. So we're slowly spreading our network of bike lanes. So that'll be coming in. From what I hear, they're currently finalizing all of their paperwork that they need to do with the California Environmental Quality Act. So once they finalize all that, they do anticipate that they'll start around early fall, so maybe around September is what I'm hearing as of right now. So if any of you have any questions, as always, feel free to give me a call. I know I sent you the things a little late, but I got it to you. So if any of you want to see the actual renderings of what it'll look like, the plans, or just some information, feel free to give me a call or email me or what have you, and I can get that information to you. Also, the dash proposal. I'm not sure if any of you are aware, but our office was in support of a new dash line from the Department of Transportation, which would basically connect Cypress Park, Elysian Valley, and Glass Zone Park through a singular dash line. So that's been in the works. The Department of Transportation's contractor is currently finalizing their final recommendations to see whether that line got approved or not. And we do anticipate to be hearing back some news next month. From what I'm hearing as of right now, they'll be having a number of community meetings to get input, when they'll, show the lines to the public and let them know, this is what we're thinking, this is the route that we're suggesting or recommending, what do folks think, and at that point they'll be receiving input. So I'll make sure to let you all know when that is, when that's scheduled and when that's in the queue so that if any of you have any questions, comments, concerns about the line, you can have them answered straight by the department, and they have the technical expertise and they'll be able to answer your questions as best as they can. Also, I know we did Pilar may have mentioned it, we did our cleanup in Glassell Park this last Saturday, so thank you all to all of those who joined us. It was a really great event. We had about 25 folks out there. It was really great. We had a 7-Eleven bring some food for us as well. It was a really nice event, so we always encourage folks to take it upon themselves and clean up your communities. You're walking through the streets day in and day out, so you know what that is like, and it's always a feeling of accomplishment when you go out and you work on it, because a lot of times our departments are strapped. We're always telling you, unfortunately, there's no money for this, there's no money for that. But the resources that we do have, we want to make sure that we let folks know. So we can always provide tools. We can always bring water. I can make 7-Eleven come back. I can bring food again. They've been really great partnering with us and making sure that that they support the community. Despite all of the issues that happened before that I won't touch on now. But if any of you have any ideas, questions, comments, concerns, I know I've worked with a few of you here already about what you'd like to see, what you wouldn't like to see. Feel free to let me know. I'm all ears. You know the community much better than I ever will, so I'm open to any suggestions as far as that. Lastly, on the back, I printed out so the emergency management department sends us their tips for the month every month that we receive it. So I printed out in the back. It's basically just 5 steps to neighborhood preparedness. A few weeks ago, our office had a meeting with the emergency management department about just having an emergency plan, making sure that we have a plan. We're always saying the next earthquake is coming. We don't know when it's going to happen, but we need to make sure we're prepared. Have a plan, have food, have tools. Make sure your family knows where to meet us in case everything goes down. In case of a catastrophic emergency where we can't connect to cell phones, where all the towers are down. There's no TV, there's no radio. We need to know what we're doing. We need to make sure we're all coordinated, at least with our families. So they made sure to let us know. Our job would be to make sure we're out in the community working with folks so that the community can be safe. So we need to make sure that we take care of our families on our end so that we don't have to go out back and worry about them. We can come here and worry about, in my case, Glassell Park, but for the council member who would be his district. So let's make sure we all have our plans. If the neighborhood council, for example, wanted to have an emergency management workshop or something, we can coordinate that. Or, other groups, if they wanted to do it. It's about having a checklist of okay, what things should I have? What should I plan for? I have a pet. Do I have a backup plan? If I'm out at work, do I have a neighbor who can go and get my dog? Or, can somebody pick up my kids from school? Those sorts of things. We need to make sure we're prepared because we don't know when it's coming. So we need to make sure we stay on top of that. And I encourage you all to do that. And, I'm always happy to help anybody. On that, does anybody have any questions, comments, specifically? Oh, the parking, right?
Oh, no, not only that.
Okay.
When I was here for that presentation,
Yes.
DOT said they didn't have the records. I asked them if they had the records. They did real outreach to find out what the community thought about it. That was previously years ago.
Right.
And we never heard anything about it. And I talked to a lot of people in that area. And they don't recall ever getting the survey.
So,
and DOT said that your office didn't have the records.
so our office worked with, so this was before I was deputy, but I know Adam Bass worked formerly with our office. He coordinated 2 community meetings. I believe one may have been at Early Middle School and the other one was at Fletcher Drive Elementary. And there were community meetings to get input from the community as far as what they wanted, what they didn't want, that sort of thing. When the department went there to get all those recommendations from folks about what they wanted and what they didn't, they then went ahead and said, okay, this is what we're going to do based on the recommendations that we received. And also there's this thing called the Vision Zero proposal, basically, which is basically to reduce any pedestrian-related fatalities, so to make the streets safer. So what things they need to do and what procedures they need to follow to make the streets safer. One of the ways to make the streets safer is to reduce the speed, and one way to reduce the speed is to put in bike lanes because, you know, when you only have one lane, there's only so fast a person can go. We're also installing 2 landscape medians at the curb on Fletcher.
I know that,
So-
but do you guys have something that you actually, I know this was before you actually outreach to the community, that's
Well, that was, those were the community
you know,
meetings.
we just asking questions, they never had to pay a survey.
Right, because they were taking notes. I don't know if they, I'm assuming they didn't take like actual, like physical writing, but they were.
Is there another question?
Okay, so I know there was also the northeast parking issue, so our office, when we found out about this, so basically I'll just sum it up real quick. When the bond measure that funded the construction of the new facility was passed, it only allowed us to construct the actual building. It didn't allow us to either improve the parking lot or create a new structure. So we were kind of left, at that point, the officers had a lease with Forest Lawn that would allow them to have parking on the Forest Lawn property. There were some issues with that, and so when we became aware of that, Forest Lawn was basically going to not allow officers to park on their lot. So we were able to work with Riverfront Media, which is we currently lease space from Forest Lawn and Goodwill to get about, I think we got about 30 to 40 spaces from both of those. And so that was something that we were able to work on the back end to make sure that we had somewhere for the officers to park. Also at the same time, LG was able to acquire a lease from the church on New Life Vision Church on Los Feliz by Costco. They're also going to be able to provide spaces for the officers. It's a little far, so they're currently working on, how they're going to get officers to and from there. They will use a shuttle, and it is a process that they've used in the past with other facilities with a similar issue. But between those 3 sites, we'll be able to have parking for all our officers. So that the parking that we do have available, we can use for folks visiting the station.
Any other questions? Just, I gotta connect you with Mujeres de la Tierra because they're gonna have a workshop on earthquakes.
Okay.
At the Solar American office, so, if I can get your email or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
Yes.
concerned about that whole item because it's muddled, like, you're saying everybody has to have an individual based plan, what about the community?
Yeah, exactly. So.
Like, we have this whole area here, I mean, it seems like it'd be logical if Glassell Park would be,
Yeah.
emergency, this would be the area where we set up triage or something.
Absolutely. So this is something where, if the neighborhood council wanted to take the lead on that and be like, we want to work for the Gospel Park community and see if we want to develop a plan, I can work with you on that. And we can have a neighborhood plan for Glassell Park, like you said. And, I'm always happy to help facilitate that. We can bring emergency management experts here to let us know, okay, this will work, this won't. I know when during, catastrophic events like that, all parks are designated as like safe zones. But from what I've heard is like some of them may or may not be open depending on whether there's damage or not. Like if the epicenter's right here, obviously, maybe this building would last, maybe it wouldn't. But if it's not, obviously we wouldn't want to be congregating here. But that's something that we can work on, have like a plan. So when they go over the plan with us, you have like a primary location, secondary location, that sort of thing. So if, one area doesn't work, we can all go to the other side and everyone, has a copy of that plan or, we can work on how we can, outreach to folks and let us know.
Because there's been decades of advocacy of saying, have your water bottles and your emergency food ready on an individual level, but that's not how I know to, tell people that. Community-based plans that affect
Exactly.
everyone.
Exactly. So we we can do something kind of like a hybrid of those two. Make sure you have your water for
Yeah.
yourself, but make sure we have an overall plan that we all have input on as a community. Absolutely.
And later on the agenda, we will be accepting nominations for a public safety and emergency preparedness liaison. We can work with the council districts as well as the city entities. So if that's of interest to any of our board members or members of the community, just stick around for that. It's item 10. So are there any other questions for C13? Thank you so much.
Oh,
What was the
I'm
date
sorry.
of the art walk?
I'm sorry?
What was the date for the art walk?
August 13th, Saturday, from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Lucy. Lucy Aparicio from C14.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lucy. I'm the field deputy for
Councilmember Jose Huizar for the Glassell Park area. So I want to start off by thanking the board and specifically the board members who joined us for our 4th of July event. It was a great community event. It was nice to have community members from all 3 areas, Glassell Park, Highland Park, and Eagle Rock. So it was a good event. Thank you guys for coming. I know Sandy said thank you. So I want to share a couple of events that we have coming up as well in CD14. The Eagle Rock Music Festival, I'll leave some flyers here on the front table, is on August 20th, so it's quickly coming. It's along Colorado Boulevard and it's from 4 to 10 p.m. So it should be a good event. They're trying to they didn't have it last year, so they're trying to bring it back. So I encourage everybody to attend. The flyers right over here. Another event that is taking place in CD14 in August is Relay for Life is having their 24-hour fundraising events at Garbanzo Park. It's on August 27th through 28th, so it's a 24-hour event. It goes from 10 a.m. to 10 a.m., so 10 a.m. Saturday to 10 a.m. Sunday. So definitely want to encourage everybody to participate and look into supporting this good event. Again, it's at Garbanzo Park, so I'll put these flyers out there too. Next, I do want to just, share that our office is continuing to work with our cleaning crew as part of our Clean Communities initiative. So in the Glassell Park area, we've been trying to focus, and we're going to continue to try to focus on, we've been trying to send them off into the alley behind the Arco there on York and Bermuda. So we're going to continue to do that, and we encourage you guys to notify us. I'll leave my business card as well. You guys can call our office or email me directly. If you guys are out there, obviously more often than sometimes we are. So if you guys notice any type of project that they might be able to help us with, basically situations where we might not have the city services to provide, we could use them. So they can help with anything from trimming down parkways, sometimes weeds, stuff like that, that sometimes it's hard for us to get street services to go out there. They can help us. We have them once a week on Thursdays. So if you guys call our office, we could definitely pencil them in. For now, that's like I mentioned, that alley is one location that we know is chronically hit by illegal dumping. So we're going to continue to send them there, as well as just on Eagle Rock Boulevard. We do have to share them throughout our area, so sometimes we can't have them specifically for Glassell Park, but definitely encourage you guys to let us know of any locations that you guys might be aware that could use a little bit of extra help from them. So also as part of our Clean Communities initiative, for anybody who doesn't know, we do have a bulky item bin that we place at Eagle Rock City Hall once a month on the 4th Saturday of the month, so it'll be there this weekend. It's basically there the Saturday after the GPNC general meeting, so it's a good way to remember and encourage people to use that since it's there the whole weekend. I'll also leave some 311 pamphlets here. Encourage everybody to use the app or at least make the phone call. You can go online, but they're trying to really make this a useful resource for neighbors to be able to report stuff. Of course, you can always contact our office as well. Also, we want to encourage everybody to, as some of you may already or may not know, we held a community meeting to discuss Verdugo Road. I know I probably mentioned this every meeting that we have, but I want to share with you guys, for anybody who might not be aware yet, we're right now, so at the meeting that we had, we did share a survey, as well as try to collect some information and feedback from residents as far as what improvements or what they feel Verdugo Road needs. So let me share that link where you guys can go and take this survey. We want to get a lot of feedback, so we'll be allowing for the survey to be filled out for about another month or two. We're hoping to have a follow-up meeting, a follow-up workshop. At this point, it'll be half workshop and half just kind of sharing with the community what we've compiled so far. So the website for taking this survey is www.surveymonkey.com/r/Verdugo Road. And it does keep track of, who submits the survey, so you can only do it once. So we will continue to monitor that, and we'll hopefully have some information for everybody as far as what the next steps and when the next meeting will be. Right now, it kind of looks like it'll probably be in the fall. We're hoping for probably late September is when we'll try to, share with everybody, and so that we can have, obviously all the residents attend so that they can share with us what they would like to see. If you guys receive our weekly newsletter, we'll obviously also update on that newsletter. Okay.
A quick question on the
Yeah.
survey link, is that Verdugo Road ROAD or RD?
ROAD.
Okay.
Thank you, yes, ROAD. Moving on, we will also be participating at the National Night Out. Thank you guys obviously for organizing. Please let me know how our office assists, but we're excited to be there, and thank you guys for putting that on. Not every community does, so thank you. And lastly, I wanted to share with you guys, our office found out by one of the neighborhood council members that there's a new coffee shop coming to Verdugo Road. So we went out there and kind of just introduced ourselves, and we're going to try to set up like a grand opening for them. We obviously want to support our local business. The coffee shop is located at 4155 Verdugo Road. It's called Little River Cafe Coffee. It's not open yet, but we'll keep you guys updated so that we can do a grand opening and support the local business.
We've been talking about having block parties throughout our area.
Okay.
But this location is in my area.
Okay.
I really wanted to make not just a grand opening, but general gathering of the community.
Yeah, that area definitely could benefit from that. So we're obviously supportive. Please let me know anything that you have in mind, and we would love to partner up.
Sorry, Patrick, it's actually my area
That's
we'll combine efforts.
right. It's right on our side of the street.
Alright. That's all I have for today. Does anybody have any questions for me? Right.
Which art though?
York and Verdugo?
Yeah.
My art.
York, and people.
Oh, is it an no, York and Verdugo.
Thank you.
Yes. Right on the corner.
So it's a
Right?
garbage truck? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's a garbage truck that you guys hire out.
No, they have a truck, and it's 4 of them. It's a nonprofit. They're called Fuego Tech. So just we get 4 bodies, and they go and help us with bulky items, or they'll cleaning sidewalks, stuff that sometimes we can't get street services or sanitation to go out there to do.
A lot of members of that group are also young students who are seeking their profession in the fire department.
No.
So
Wake up.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, we've been working with them for well over a year, and they definitely helped us out with a lot of little projects.
There's a big problem again on Fresh in DC. They're
Graffiti?
graffitiing every single day, it seems like.
Okay, we'll make a note of that to try.
I don't know how they get in, they climb over the fence, I guess.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on that and try to report it as soon as
Yeah, why don't we get a supermarket there?
any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so I don't see our senior lead officer here yet, or the fire department yet. Maybe they'll join us later. So I'm going to go ahead and take item number 16, which is public comments, out of order. Because I know we have a couple here, and those folks will be waiting until the end of the meeting. First, I'd like to provide Northeast Youth Council the opportunity to speak. You guys have 2 minutes to introduce yourselves, what you do, and how we can potentially work together.
guys. So, and introduce yourself. Oh, I'm Grace Laura.
Hi, my name is Emily Santa Maria.
And I'm the lead educator in the Cities Northeast Youth Council. These are 3 members. We have other members who are not here with us. We started in the end of 2014, and we sort of got our steam together last year and this year. And these are young youth from the Northeast areas who want to better their communities. And we work with their ideas. So we are now partnered with the Northeast LAP station and their PAL program because one of our missions is also to engage with the police and have the police see youth and the community through the youth's eyes in a more expansive way. So do you want to talk about a couple of the projects that you were on last year?
Last year I helped out with the community cleanup over on Drew Street and the school supplies backpack giveaway inside the store.
And this year we're working on
This year we're working on homeless hiking markets where we contacted local stores and 50 worth of stuff that homeless people may need and distributed it around Northeast.
So these are all ideas that you come with, and we, as adults, respect their ideas and want to build their capacities as leaders and organizers. And right now, you are a new member of the Center for So Grace is kind of one of our older youth, so I call her our senior youth leader. And she became a member of another neighborhood council. And our intention this year also is to network and weave through with organizations like yourselves that are already embedded in the community and see, like, for example, if you have a committee that deals with homelessness, we have a lot of packets that we can give you for you to give away. So it doesn't just have to be us. They're initiated here, but we'd like to partner with others. So,
Thank you so much for being here. And later on in the agenda, item 10E, we're accepting nominations for a homelessness liaison to work with the neighborhood council as well as city and government agencies. So that's open to anybody that's on the board or anybody that's here this evening who's considered a stakeholder. So if that's of interest to you, stick around for that. And again, thank you so much for being here and for being leaders in our community. Next up, Art Camarillo has a public comment.
Good evening, my name is Art Camarillo, I'm a local veteran working on a group we call Veterans Organization for Northeast. Right now, the latest project is we're planning to do a veteran memorial at the Real Park. We're getting the support of the legislators. Also, the cultural affairs is going to be, we want to be checking if we can get a grant. We're not asking for the work for anybody. We're not going to ask anybody from any neighborhood council because we all have limited funds. That we do ask for a letter which will submit to your executive committee, just a letter of support for the project. We're trying to combine the education. The state already approved it. Rec Parks approved the facility, and we just have to get other support. We're trying to incorporate on when the schools come for a day at the park or whatever, to also include the memorial to kids, kids about veterans. A lot of kids that I tutor with in our soccer club, they don't know the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and they need to be under the things that we'll be asking for your support.
Are there any other public comments this evening? Yes. You have 2 minutes.
I'm gonna make sure the time is, so I can be a little bit quick. Buenas noches, me llamo Luke, Toluca. Desafortunadamente hablo y comprendo muy poco de español, pero aprendiendo español ahora porque es muy importante para escuchar y hablar con todo en la comunidad. So I'm Luca Barton. I'm running for City Council, Conseja de la Ciudad para Distrito 1. I'm running for City Council for District 1. Let's see. I have some flyers here that have our email, and we're doing a community listening tour right now, which this is part of. We want to hear all of your ideas to solidify our platform. So we're in our 3rd week right now, so we will not have a platform until we have the context to create a platform. So we're meeting with a lot of the neighborhood councils, which there's about like 8 or 10 in District 1, with chambers of commerce, with local democratic groups and nonprofits and orgs. Right now, what I'd say is, I spoke with Art a little bit yesterday. I wish we could have spoke more then. That probably our top priorities are going to be homelessness and cost of living, and then Art brought up education, which of course is incredibly important, and that's what's going to save our whole country. And that's extremely important, but if we don't handle immediately gentrification and cost of living and making newcomers and gentrifiers know that they are the new colonists, because with their money, they're kicking out mostly low-income brown people, and they're taking their land. So we need to create that understanding, and we need to stop people from getting kicked out of their land, who have been here for generations. Otherwise, then they won't be able to have an education. And also that will help if we raise living wages and work with local businesses to create a better economy for ourselves, for people to focus on education rather than working for their families. So a lot of these things are going to be very interdisciplinary. We're going to bring design to government. And we're not going to do patchwork, which is very politically expedient. We're going to actually look for root causes and put in those resources that are necessary that might even be cheaper than doing this patchwork. I've already gone over 2 minutes, that's quick. So anyway, please contact us on the back. March 7th is the primary, which we hope to get a mandate so that we can really go into City Council with a lot of power, and then be able to, we would love to have a slate for all the other City Council members. There's going to be 5 others that are up for grabs, and then school board and all that. So we'd love to have more people, but we can only focus on ourselves. So even if it's just us and we get in, then we want all that people power to go to the other board members and say, hey, if you don't put people first and you keep putting rich developers first, then we're going to organize the communities and we're going to do what's right. Thank you.
Alright, next up is Nancy Avila, City Attorney Office.
Hi everyone, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Nancy Avila and I work with the City Attorney's Office. I'm the new Community Resource Specialist for the Central Bureau, and I'll be working with the neighborhood prosecutor of the area, and for some of you who are not aware of the neighborhood prosecutor's program, it's a unit within the City Attorney that works very closely with LAPD in issues related to nuisance activities that take place in the community, and so the current neighborhood prosecutor for the area is Gabrielle Taylor. However, she will be going up for new week. And so we're going to have someone temporarily come in and work with the neighborhood during her time out, but I will also be a resource for the community while she's away. And so I don't have any business cards since I just started, but I'll be coming in and out and you'll see me, and I'll leave some pamphlets in front for my name as well. And welcome to the people.
You're welcome to you as well.
Thank you.
I like that you afterward. I was talking to the community officer of Jilla, and Maria, also residents in the area. There's a property there that was set up for this.
So only I'm going to stay for the full meeting, but I can leave you my information and we can set up a meeting.
What's your email address?
It's Nancy, NANCY.M.Avila, AVILA @lacity.org.
And your phone number?
My number is 213-978-7837.
Great. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Marco Martinez. Marco, you have 2 minutes.
I won't go over two.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Marco Martinez, and my wife, Dr. Debbie Martinez, similar to my daughter, Juliana. Welcome to the board, Randy Board. I know my real quick comments on safety, I live on El Paso, we already know what I'm talking about. And in fact, my wife was coming out of the driveway with my daughter in a car was going at least 50 and unsplifted. It happens a lot. We've been there 2 years now. We've been there 2 years still. See a lot of post calls, hard to get out, hard to get in your house. And so I know they can't put speed bumps, but I used to work for the California State Assembly as a district director, and one of the things I made some calls out there. They use the Durabumps, the plastic ones, completely safe, easy for any safety vehicle to get over. Police don't have a problem. Fire control don't have a problem. Doesn't mess with axles or wheels or anything like that. But if you're driving a car, you will feel it, and it causes people to slow down. So that's one quick thing. I'm not too much later. No, okay. 15 more seconds. Is there, and possibly for the neighbors that live on the street that are trying to get out, is there a way to maybe go 1 foot red, 1 foot red, because people tend to go into the driveway, right? So like, especially vans, so you're trying to get out, you can't see. And I know I'm not gonna say put mirrors that cost a lot of money, but maybe like, not 3 feet, because parking is, but like a foot red on either side, that way there's enough clear space, so at least people can see traffic coming, especially if they're going like, as fast as we just left. 2 minutes, I'm done. Thank you.
And then, do you know who your area rep is? So you're on El Paso.
I'm on El Paso Drive, I'm like right in the middle, not quite yet towards,
I think it's area 5.
Is it El Paso, like Joshua was El Paso
Yes.
Division, or where?
I'm right under the building. I live close to that gentleman right there.
Okay. So Billy is your rep, your area rep. He's not here. He's on his way here this evening.
Okay.
So you'll want to connect with him, and then you know Ben, so you guys can work together as well. So
Yeah, kind of.
right.
And Granger sells nice red curb paint, and we could do a little curb painting.
I can do it, but I don't have it right. I'll do everybody.
All right, before we move on, are there any other public comments this evening? All right, let's get official then. Item number 4. This is our official roll call and determination of our quorum. We should have but we'll go ahead. The minute takers, you can just note our board members. We're going to start over here with Mr. Tony Macias, work our way over. You can just note everybody who's here in attendance this evening. That's great. All right, so we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves once more.
Tony Macias, business rep. John Long, business rep.
David Ramirez, Area 3 rep.
Marie D'Antonio, Area 7 rep.
Patrick Berry, Area 6.
Marlon Taylor, business rep.
Sunny Garcia, Ed representative.
Brian Frobisher, faith base.
Lori Goodman, Area 1 rep.
Heather Thomas, Area 4.
And Benjamin Geisinger at large.
Great. With that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 board members in attendance. Our quorum is 8, so we have more than enough for quorum. We'll go ahead and get started. Has everybody here this evening completed their funding training? Yes. Has everybody completed their ethics training? Yes. No. Okay. So funding, yes. Ethics, no? Neither. Okay. So you'll be able to vote on most items unless it includes funding component, in which case you'll be ineligible. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on. Next up is correction and acceptance of meeting minutes from June 21st, 2016. They were included in the supplemental documents. Are there any corrections of the minutes from June 21st? No corrections? Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes from Tuesday, June 21st, 2016?
I move that we approve the minutes from Tuesday, June 21st,
So moved by Brian Frobisher. Is there a second?
A second.
Ben Geisinger seconds. Any further discussion? Okay, let's take that to a vote, please. All those, anybody who's opposed? Anybody who abstains? So we'll assume that everybody's in favor. All 11 in favor, it's unanimous. Moving on to item number 6, report recommendations from me, the interim chair. So you will have noticed that we have newsletters, the board approved newsletters, and they were printed for July. So all the board members will receive them. Please feel free to help yourself and take as many as you'd like that you can distribute to your friends and neighbors. We're really proud to announce that they're both in English and Spanish to make sure that we communicate well with our entire community. Okay, we had a fantastic board retreat, and I just want to acknowledge Maria who put it together for us. She did a fantastic job, and it provided the opportunity for us to come together with our visions and goals for the neighborhood council going forward. So thank you again for doing that. Okay. We had ARC meeting last night, as well as we've had some of our liaisons out in the Los Angeles world representing the neighborhood council. So I want to thank you all for taking the time to do that. This is a volunteer position, not only serving on the board, but also taking on the liaison position. So I just want to acknowledge your dedication and appreciate the time that you spend representing us. Also, the last thing, we are going to be appointing interim chairs for our committees this evening, but our committees do meet regularly and they're available and open to both board and our stakeholders. So if you're interested in joining a committee, please let us know. If you think that we should have a committee that we don't already have, please take that to the executive committee meeting and the board can consider putting that committee together so that we can represent those issues. So that option is available. So moving on then, item number 7, it's report recommendations from interim treasurer Jamie Ramirez with discussion and possible action to approve the MERs for May and June 2016. They are provided. They were again included in the supplementals. Monthly expenditure reports are simply itemized list of what the neighborhood council has spent, as well as the budget category from which they were spent from. Our fiscal year closed June 30th. So these are the last 2 MERs that will close out our fiscal year, although some will be included in the July MER just because of the banking systems. Are there any corrections, concerns, discussion on the MERs from May and June 2016? Is there a motion to approve the MERs from May and June 2016?
I move that we approve the MERs from May and June 2016.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Laura seconds. Any further discussion? Okay. Is there anybody opposed? Anybody who'd like to abstain? We have one ineligible, Mr. Tony Macias. So with that, everybody approves the MERs, correct? Yes. I just want to confirm that our note taker is just keeping track of that for us. That's it. Thank you. Okay, we have an Apple One invoice dated 7/31 in the amount of $69.30 for services at the June 21st, 2016 meeting. And we also have the More Business Results invoice dated 6/1 in the amount of $344.02. Both are included in the supplemental documentation. Is there any discussion on these 2 items? Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the Apple invoice and the More Business Results 7 Bravo and 7 Charlie.
Okay, so moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sandy Garcia seconds. Any further discussion? Okay, anybody who is opposed? Anybody who abstains? We have one ineligible. And everybody else approves the 2 invoices, items 7, B, and C. Yes? Okay. Unanimous besides the ineligible. All right, moving on to item number 8. Marge is not here this evening. However, I have the proofs for our business cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send them down to Tony. Please review your card. If your card's not here, just write it on the back. If there's any corrections, just mark directly on here. We'll take it to the printer, and this will be our last proof, so make sure it's correct. Okay, start that. Yes, please initial. Thank you. Yeah.
I already marked.
Okay, so Marge wanted to review the scanning rules and committee protocols. Does anybody know were they included Yes.
I believe Mark is on her way here.
Yeah, she is.
And, it's possible to table that.
I make a motion that we wait till Marge gets here
She's
to
on her
cover
way.
this.
Motion not needed, I can just go ahead and go back to it. Okay, next up is item 8C. So the next executive committee meeting is the same night as our national night out. The recommendation is to reschedule to Thursday, August 4th. Any discussion on that?
It's been on the website for a little
Would
while.
somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to
The 4th, yeah.
reschedule the executive committee to August 4th.
Great, is there a second?
I second.
Any seconds? Excellent, any further discussion? Okay, anybody who's opposed to that? Anybody who abstains? We're all in favor, correct? Yes, okay, that's unanimous. So the next executive committee meeting, just so everybody's aware, will be Thursday, August 4th. Our normal executive committee is the first Tuesday, so we'll do that first Thursday.
Question.
Yes, Jamie.
Most committees get to decide when they meet without the board voting on it. Is the executive committee meeting time different in that it has to be voted on and approved by the board?
That can be discussed at the next executive committee meeting.
I'm just wondering what the protocol is currently, because I'm not sure why we voted on it.
Okay, so I would again recommend that all of the board members review the bylaws as well as the standing rules. And if you have concerns about when the executive committee meets, you can bring that up in the executive. Next up is item number 9, board member updates. So we'll go ahead and start with Laura. Everybody has 2 minutes to provide their updates.
I don't think I'll take 2 minutes. Hector actually covered a lot of what I was going to say. There was a great cleanup in English Park that Sandy and I attended, and it's really nice to meet that those members of Area 1. I don't get to go over there very often, and it's a really great event. There were 15 bags of trash picked up and a shopping cart. And they plan to do more events like that, which I believe you guys heard earlier. And then also the Fletcher Streetscape has now been pushed even further than we thought. So it was maybe pushed to August, and now it's pushed to September. And I did hear that perhaps they have they're not going to allow large trucks like vehicles and also other big construction trucks to park on Marguerite Street during the revitalization of Fletcher. And that is all for now.
Thank you. Next up, Jane, Area 3.
Yeah, not a whole lot to say, but I'm currently working on getting a tree planting scheduled, probably for October. Time slots are filling up, so if it doesn't happen in October, it'll happen in the spring. But that'll be for the side of Carlisle Street opposite the elementary school, the side I live on, and so that's the one I'm starting with.
Next up is Heather Thomas, Area 4.
So after our fantastic retreat on Saturday, had a chance to talk to some people in my area about the idea of doing some type of a community event, like a block party. Lots of people excited about that idea. So I guess I'm presenting a date. Do I need to do that for a vote, or just go ahead and set a date and start planning?
You can take that to the executive committee if you want to make an official event for the neighborhood.
Oh, so I do have to make an official
Yeah,
event.
and if you're going to request a vote,
Date, okay.
if you're going to request a vote.
Got it. Oh, wait then.
Area 6, Madam Chair.
Yes, I was pleased to see that on July 3rd, Caltrans came and cleared brush along the freeway, the 2 freeway that runs along the eastern part of our area. And it was perfect timing because July 4th, we had illegal fireworks going on in our area, unfortunately. And maybe that's something we could address through outreach and education next year, prior to next 4th of July. And in regards to Little River Coffee that Lucy mentioned, we'll excited to work with Lorraine, represent some of those out here bring together the businesses in Verdugo Village and the community residents together to celebrate this and to, again, help the revitalize that corridor. And there was a false rumor on next door about Verdugo Road plans being finalized in the works. That was untrue, and I talked to the poster and she understood it. And I commented in the thread that was not true. I called Lucy's office and they confirmed that. So just to reiterate what she's saying, the survey is still out there and community input's being received, and there's an ongoing debate about what can be done. A lot of people are mentioning the traffic light on Shasta Circle being better timed, and that seems like a great idea as well. Something I hope we can move on faster than this long sharing process. I hope it's good. And looking forward to meeting with the city prosecutor to visit this property on Lamona and Verdugo, which is late, which is not a good look for Verdugo Village. Thanks.
Yes. Patrick mentioned we're gonna work together on a block party and hopefully move the record. And we have our council member to attend. In addition to the house on Ramona and Verdugo, there's also a questionable activity happening at 415 Verdugo, this workshop and at the massage programs. I'll be speaking to the city attorney's office about that as well. And that's all.
Great, thank you. Tony Macias?
Well, fresh and easy. We need to bring another, we need to replace it. The community needs market. That's the bottom line. I'm excited to start the process where we find a good candidate or several candidates and see what the community really needs. And it's really exciting because we have really good friends here that we could really work together and just find the right place for us, the right market. And fresh and easy, for some reason or another, not cover all the areas. We gotta find the right for us, and by doing that, we gotta figure out what the community wants, and by that, I mean, we really need to knock on the doors and start asking people. So excited to kickstart that, and hopefully, get some results quicker rather than later.
Thank you. Next up is me. I'm also a business representative, and it's my goal to further reach out to our Glassell Park business community, which is actually a large business community. There's many businesses on the San Fernando Road, also home-based businesses, and a lot of inward-facing businesses that have not yet have been reached out to. And so as part of my campaign and continuing outreach, I'll continue to reach out to them so that they know that they're represented on the neighborhood council. Again, there's a new coffee shop that's going to be opening in the Village area, but we have other businesses that are thriving, including Habitat and Lemon Coffee Kitchen, as well as D3, which are fantastic because they're community-based businesses that bring people together. We also have the M shop that opened up on Verdugo. They moved actually from Eagle Rock to Glassell Park, so we should make them feel welcome here. And I think that covers it. I would definitely agree with Fresh and Easy, and look forward to working with my business reps on that. And other than that, we'll move on to John Henry Wrong and his update.
Can I suggest something? In the office, you should have a folder with business addresses that we put together during the chamber. They should get able to.
Okay, great. Thank you. John, do you have an update for us?
I'm kind of on the same page as you. I'm still just learning the area, getting to know the business a little better. I do want to do some more outreach, and I do want to figure out what we got to do for Fresh and Easy. More or less, it's going to start getting a little bit more footwork and get to know the people face to face.
council reps are here. Chris Alves representing the Eagle Rock Yacht Club, and Marge Piani representing Hillside Produce Cooperative. Report from our education rep, Sandy.
Sure, I know that schools are on vacation right now, kids are not in class, they're enjoying the summer. But I just made a quick little note about what has been happening in Glassell Park, so I just wanted to pass it to you guys and to the board as well. One of them was, of course, canoeing in the LA River, which was with SODA, the students from SODA Paddle the River organization, and we also had a Glassell Park Community Garden Day Camp at the Drew Street location. On the side here, if you notice, I have my plans for the future, what I'd like to do, and I gotta connect with you guys. Okay, so my number is on the newsletter, and every month, like I said, when I do my update, I want to have this available for you guys to not just hear, but also to see and take home with you so you remember. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Sandy.
Okay, next up is our report from our faith-based representative, Brian Frobisher.
Nothing yet to report other than I'm starting a list of faith-based institutions, both brick and mortar and non-brick and mortar in our neighborhoods. Contact them and get them to bring in help compiling information, maybe making something like this for the neighborhoods and our visitors.
Thank you. And last but not least, a report from our at-large representative, Ben Dysinger.
So I'm the at-large representative, I'm Ben. I serve as the secondary area rep for all the different areas. And the big thing going on in our community all throughout this coming month is National Night Out. As everybody knows, August 2nd, we have a big community event. We had 700 plus people last year. We're even bigger this year, so it's a great time to get the family out, come see some cool trucks, eat some good food, listen to some good music, have a good time. August 2nd from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Great, thank you. So moving on to item number 10, which is very exciting for our neighborhood council. I'm going to actually ask that our neighborhood advocate lead us through the executive committee elections. But before I hand over the meeting, I just want to say what a privilege it's been to be the interim chairperson for the neighborhood council after our elections. That I'm eager and excited to work with each and every one of you. And while I may not be in a leadership capacity, I'm excited for somebody else to step forward and bring ideas and new leadership to our neighborhood council. So it's been an honor and a privilege, and I very much look forward to the future neighboring. So Thomas, if you can lead us through our executive committee elections.
It's been a take on you.
Very good.
Hi everybody, my name is Thomas. With the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment to oversee the neighborhood council system. So very glad to be here. I apologize for Saturday. I was gonna come and attend, but I heard crawfish on fire was not the lunch, so. No, actually, I had to take care of something happened to my wife. She's all right. Okay, so for the neighborhood council bylaws, the reason why there was error on the chairs is that the bylaws state that the official election of officers happened in the month of July. So there you are in the month of July. So thank you to Molly and to Jamie and everyone else that was the interim officers for stepping up and just guiding you guys through that process. As you know that the fiscal year closed in June and it was a big rush to make sure the funds were all taken care of. So thank you for shepherding that process. So the first order of business is to elect, it's on the agenda, right?
Yes.
Bottom of 204.
204. Okay, so there's five positions for the executive officers for this board: the chairperson, vice chairperson, treasurer, secretary, and board member at large. You do not have to have taken the funding or ethics to vote on this. So everyone knows that. And the official action will be the majority of the board members present vote. So you guys have 11 board members, so then you'll need 7 to get it, 6 to get it passed. Okay. So the first position that we're going to go for, I apologize, I don't have the bylaws with me, but the first position is the chairperson of the council. Just like 2 months ago when we went through the descriptions, you guys can have an idea what the chairperson does, oversees the meetings, etc. So let's take some nominations. Are there any nominations for chairperson?
I'd like to nominate Ben Dysinger.
Okay, the name I can never pronounce.
Close. Dice and singer, 2 words.
So Benjamin Dicey.
There it is.
Okay, so there's been a nomination. Is there a second for it?
I second that.
Okay, so Brian Frobisher seconds.
Okay, confirm, vote, Molly started
Yes, so Molly, so we're doing nominations of chairperson, and then so Molly nominates Ben, and then Brian seconds. So Ben, do you accept?
I do.
You do accept, okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay, nominations are closed. So Benjamin, quick 30 seconds. Why do you want to be chair of this council?
We had our board retreat this past Saturday where we outlined what kind of board we want to be, what we were hoping to achieve, and a lot of good stuff came out of that. We were very cohesive, very organized, and I really liked what I saw, and I want to help shape that and continue a very effective Glasgow Park Neighborhood Council to result in a series of changes for the good of the community. So I want to help shape that along with the rest of the board.
Quickly, we'll come back to board comments, but any public comment regarding this? Public comment is closed. Any board comment regarding this? Board comment is closed, so let's take our votes. Are there any no's? Are there any abstentions? So without any abstentions, without any no's, congratulations, you are the official.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Okay, let's move on to vice chairperson. So any nominations for vice chair? Anyway, so
We got a whole bunch of hands going.
I don't think you take this one. So who's the? Okay, so who do you nominate? So Brian.
Wait, come on, go, let's let this go.
Okay, so Molly nominated again. Okay, yes.
I'd like to nominate Marie Antonio.
Okay, so there's Molly nominates Marie for vice chair. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, so Patrick clearly.
Clearly.
I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Okay, so Patrick seconds. Okay. Marie, do you accept? Marie accepts. Are there any other nominations? Nominations are closed. Okay, quick 30 seconds. Why do you want to be vice chair?
Sure. Well, I'm new, so I certainly couldn't take a position where, like a chair position, where it's the head. But I've worked in support positions for pretty much my whole career, and I understand the workings of getting people to work together. And I ran the board retreat over the weekend, so it's sort of like a little taste of the abilities that I have, and organizational skills, and I love working with all of you, so I'm excited to be part of, hopefully, part of the executive.
Any public comments? Public comments closed. Any board comments? Comments closed. Are there any abstentions? We're going to vote. Are there any abstentions? Any no's? Congratulations. Secretary, position of secretary. Is that? Okay, so she is not here.
Can we nominate her anyway?
She's working, she's on her way.
Hold on, hey, that's what they nominate. She's been said. Is there a second for that?
What?
She's not here.
Yeah, so,
He's not here to accept.
Well, if there's the world of war thinks that she might want to do it, you guys want to, anyone else wants to do it? We're gonna take it away.
The fact is, no, yes.
Okay, so we could run board.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Laura.
Okay, Laura, Cuban.
Thanks.
I second that.
Okay, so Brian seconds. You
Yes.
accept. Okay. Alright. So who did the nominations? No nominations. Laura, you want to give a quick 30 seconds?
I like to write a lot. I take copious notes. So I have actually served as secretary and then vice president of my high school. So my high school process.
It's just like high school.
Just like high school. No, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, but get along.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's good because Marge has done it before, and I think she has some reservations about doing it again. So hopefully, get some tips from her and succeed. So.
Okay. Any public comment regarding? Public comment is closed, so there's a board comment, any other board comments? Board comment is closed. Are there any abstentions? Any no's? Congratulations, Laura. Okay, the easiest position on the board, the treasurer. Any nominations for the treasurer?
I would nominate Marge, if she's not here to accept.
Okay. Well,
So she gives them.
that's up to you, it's up to you, you're the chair.
That's true. Yeah, I would also table that. If we have one nomination and she's not here, I'd rather have her say on it than not, so I'd like to table that.
Okay, so let's table, we all agree to table that? Okay, so for the record, all agree to table the position of treasurer. Your at-large member, next one? Okay, at-large member for your exec committee. Anyone, any nominations? Yes,
I'd like to nominate Brian Frobisher.
okay.
I second that.
Okay, so Molly nominates, Ben seconds. Brian, do you accept?
Yes.
Accepts, okay. Any other nominations? Okay, 30 seconds.
Well, since we have all these newcomers on the executive board, you get an old timer around. Now, I would gratefully accept that nomination and do the best job I can.
Any public comment?
You will be great.
Okay, I heard it, 1 o'clock, so put that down. Okay, any other board comments? Okay, the votes, are there any abstentions? Any no's? Brian, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna defer to you, Mr. President, now, because this is second signatory, signer for funding documents and P-card holder for EC purchases. Does the board want to wait until the treasurer gets elected for that, or should we go forward? I mean, that's, what do you guys? Because usually I've done both treasurers.
Without a treasurer present, or one nominee not present, I think it would also be smart to table that as well.
Yeah, those 2 items.
Yes.
And I think, let's see, now we're gonna do the self-nominations for Area 2 vacancy, vice chairperson, or are you gonna?
Do we have anybody here to nominate themselves for Area 2? Okay.
Okay, and then I think number D is I think at this point, because you have your exec committee now, you can take over from this point now. Yeah, okay. All right.
Alright everybody, so as you all are well aware, I am brand new at this, so a little patience please. But item D, accept self-nominations by stakeholders for up to 10 vacant seats. Is there anybody here who would like to self-nominate to be an alternate on the board?
Yes.
We've got one, Helene. Anybody else?
I've done my funding training and ethics training.
You're already ahead of the game.
Hey.
Do we have any others? Yes.
Marcy Rose.
Marcy Rose, alright. And which area are you in, Marcy?
1.
Area 1, okay, Area 1 alternate, and you are?
7.
Area 1 and Area 7. Anybody else?
And just for your information, the alternate board members, there's 10 of them. You basically attend the meetings, and if you attended the previous meeting and we can't make quorum, we don't have 8 people here, then you would be seated on the board and be able to vote and make decisions during that particular meeting.
Okay.
What's your
I'll
last name?
self-nominate.
Art? Art, what area are you in?
Area 5.
Area 5, okay.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody else?
Ann Roberts.
Ann Roberts.
Yeah.
And what is your area? Area 4? Great. So we have 1, 4, 5, and 7. Anybody else?
Quick question for alternate, is there an age limit for?
18.
18.
Well, board member is 18, but it's not clear for the, it's gotta be 18.
It's 18. What's 18?
And our voting age is
Okay, what's 18?
Oh, that gives you can't.
They're not like you can vote every type of they're not really.
No?
So they're just anything.
Okay. Would anyone like to motion to approve all 4 of our candidates?
I'll second. You want to make the motion?
I think
I so moved.
Sweet. Anybody second?
I second.
Great. All right, are there any no's? Any abstentions? All right, congratulations, you are all our new alternate board members. All right, next up, we have item E, which is accept nominations and elect a homelessness liaison and a public safety and emergency preparedness liaison. So we do not have a homelessness committee yet, but there is a meeting, and please help me out on this one. When would the homelessness liaison go and attend this meeting? Do we have any?
Which meeting?
So all of our liaisons attend events downtown. Like for example, I'm the Length liaison. We attend on the first Saturday of every month.
Yes.
Is this position to attend a similar event? No.
No, I can speak to this.
Please.
So the mayor's office has requested that neighborhood councils appoint a homelessness liaison, so that when meetings do come up or programs or initiatives that they're trying to promote, they can share that information with the board and try to organize the community as well. So I believe the current initiative is to ask neighborhood councils to sponsor Welcome Home. What's the word, package, or, yeah, like a welcome home package, and so that's just one example of working directly with the mayor's office that this homelessness liaison could help us with, as well as other community groups.
Do we have any nominations for that spot?
My husband, Martin Garcia, he's interested and he wants to do it.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
nominating him. He's not here today because he's teaching at Azusa Pacific, but he works with World Vision, which is an organization that deals with homelessness and things like that. So he's interested and wants to do it.
Perfect. Do we have any other nominations? Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve Martin Garcia as our homelessness liaison? Any second?
I'll second.
Okay. Do we have any no's? And any abstentions? Okay. Martin Garcia is GPNC homelessness liaison. Next up, we have the Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Liaison. And I believe we spoke about this a little bit earlier. Patrick, you were very adamant about this. Is this something you might want to consider?
Yeah, yes.
I would make a motion to appoint you our Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Liaison.
Yeah, I can speak on that a little bit. I've been going, so this coming Saturday, which is the third Saturday of the month, there's a neighborhood council emergency Preparedness Alliance. And Brian was there a couple times. Get together, meet with the Emergency Preparedness Division of the city, along with other neighborhood council leaders to come up with one idea is to come up with a citywide emergency plan, and also to get to know the city's EMD, Emergency Preparedness Department, as well. So there's a meeting this coming Saturday at 10 o'clock at the DWP building. I'll just send you information if you're.
Is it DWP or EOC this time?
It's DWP.
Ladies?
Yeah.
I thought you said EOC, no?
I'll send you.
Okay.
So based on that conversation, I'd also like to appoint or nominate Brian Frobisher to serve in the capacity as public safety and emergency preparedness liaison as well.
That's who you accept that?
Yes.
Okay. So, anyone want to make a motion to approve both Patrick and Brian as our Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Liaisons? Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay. Any no's? And any abstentions? Congratulations, guys, you're our liaisons. Okay, next up we have appoint interim chairpersons for all standing committees. So we are repopulating all of our committees today. And the first one up is bylaws. Do we have anybody who would like to nominate for the interim chairperson for the bylaws committee? Nobody. Should we table that for now?
I would, well, can I just make a clarification? So you can actually just make the nominations. So you can provide the opportunity for people to sort of self-nominate, but ultimately you can just make the nominations as an interim chair.
Is anybody here present that's currently on the bylaws committee that would like to be the interim chair? We have nobody interested in it. Is that something you'd like to be in?
Marge is on the committee. I realize we don't know when she'll be here, but I just thought I'd mention it.
I would nominate Molly to be the interim chair of bylaws. Interim, you go from one interim to the other.
How did that just happen?
What is your, we did receive the bylaws amendment already.
Yeah, the bylaw, yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, okay, I'll accept that, just for interim.
Just for interim.
Yeah.
Great. Would anyone? Second. Great. Do we have any no's for Molly being the interim chair of the bylaws committee? Any abstentions? Great, Molly, that is all yours. Next up, we have grants and funding. Art.
I'm volunteer for interim. I've been in that committee for 12 years.
Fantastic, so you know it. Natural position, do we have anybody else? Okay.
I would nominate Heather for interim chair of the committee. Thank you. No, I'm gonna decline.
Chair? May I ask that you simply do a very brief explanation of what interim chair would mean to any of the stakeholders out here that might consider the role?
Interim chair would be the head of the committee for example, grants and funding until the committee themselves can meet and decide their own chair and populate what's there. So we have Art, anybody else? Would anybody like to make a motion to approve Art as interim chair of grants and funding?
I motion.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, any no's? Any abstentions? Okay, congratulations, Art. Next up, we have economic development and land use. And I would like myself to nominate Helene. No? If you would accept?
Yes, but I'd like to see the board make other nominations.
Sure. Do we have anybody else who would like to nominate?
I'd like to say. I was gonna self-nominate,
Great, Jamie. Okay.
and I work heavily with Helene, because there's a lot I need to know about it, but,
This is simply interim.
Just interim.
Right.
Do anybody else would like to nominate for the interim chair? Okay, we have Jamie and Helene, if you accept.
Yes.
Okay. So, for
if
Helene,
Helene accepts, I'll drop it off.
you rescinded Helene
I'll
accepts?
rescind, yeah.
So you're the only one. Do we have any no's? Any abstentions? Okay, Helene, you're the interim chair. Okay, next up is the Outreach and Communications Committee.
I'd like to self-nominate for that.
Great.
I said.
What was that?
Outreach and communications.
Exhibit A. Do you have anybody other? Yeah, that's Mark.
Oh, can we just read
Your chair.
One is too late.
I'd like to rescind.
Is it too late? Where do you It's just, it's interim.
I understand. And I think it's a more powerful position for a board member to take.
So I don't know the policy or procedure on this. If we just approve something and then it gets rescinded.
She's withdrawing, right?
Yeah.
I'm ready to withdraw.
You withdraw.
Well, then I will unrescind.
Alright, so we're going back one real quick.
Okay.
So item F, number 3. The interim chair for economic development and land use, we have Jamie as nomination. Would anybody like to second that? Or do we have any other nominations?
I have another nomination.
Sure.
I'd like to nominate Marge for the land use chair.
Interim chair.
Interim chair.
One meeting. One meeting.
I believe so.
Okay, one meeting.
So we have Mark and Jamie. Okay, so since we it's a contested vote, let's go for Jamie. All yeses for Jamie?
Yeah, maybe I should just, no. Wait, I'll just rescind unless March isn't interested. And
No,
you guys
I'm
don't
happy to do it for one meeting.
No, it's not. Oh, okay, two of us.
So you
I'm gonna rescind.
okay.
For the record,
Sorry.
So do we have a second from Marge for interim EDLU chair?
I second.
Great. Do we have any no's? And any abstentions? Okay, Marge, you are the interim chair. Okay, real quick, back to outreach. We have Sandy who's self-nominated. Would anybody like to second Sandy as the interim chair?
I second. You second.
I had a raise my hand a second.
Okay. Do we have any no's? And any abstentions? Sandy, you are the chair. Next up, budget and finance.
This committee doesn't exist currently on the website.
Budget
And
committee.
there are no meetings posted for it. I don't believe this committee technically exists.
It'll exist if we give it a chair.
Okay.
Do we have any nominations for budget and finance, interim chair? Art. Great. Great, thank you. Do you have anybody else? Molly.
I would nominate the person who becomes our treasurer.
Right.
you should do that first.
That's a very good point. Okay, that makes sense. Before we nominate interim chair for budget and finance, it also makes sense to finish our elections, especially the treasurer. Can we come back to that now?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Do we have any nominations for treasurer on the executive committee? Molly.
I'd like to nominate Marge Peony for treasurer.
Did you already elect a secretary?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only issue I have is that I can't promise that I'll be able to stick with it, because if I get a job, you know, I'm not gonna be able to just do day, you know, the kind of work this is gonna require, I'm sure. If anybody else will do it, I will gladly say no.
Yeah, comment?
Yeah, so the treasurer can ask for an assistant. They also have the support of the second signer. In addition to that, if it's the will of the board and there's a necessity, we can always ask for outside assistance from a temporary staffing agency. So there is support available for the position if it's without assistance in place, it can require some time, but if you put the systems in place, it'll be easy.
My concern is more about collecting information, you know, because I know that in the past, 3 treasurers now have had trouble getting the MERs done because they can't get all the information. And I really just don't even have the patience at this point to beg for information. So,
Yeah, just like Molly mentioned, in addition to Apple One support, we do have folks on staff, yeah, from Apple One, that could be hired specifically to work with the MERs. So that's, once again, it's will of the board to, if time and capacity is an issue, then if the board wills, you can hire someone to do it.
So we got options, Marge. We have support.
Do it, Marge.
okay then, sure.
Do we have a second for Marge? Great. Do we have any no's? Any abstentions? Marge, congratulations. Okay, coming back now to appointing interim chairpersons for the Budget and Finance Committee. We have a nomination from Art. Do we have any other nominations? Maybe Marge.
I nominate Marge.
Great.
Well, the treasurer should be in that.
Agreed. Okay, I would. Again, I know we're throwing a lot at you right now.
Like, okay, hi, you're just the chair of the EDLU, you're the treasurer, and now, let's Whoa, anybody else?
Yeah. That's a very
Because
good
I
point.
actually am on the, I hope to continue to be on the land use committee and the bylaws committee, and I'm on the public arts committee. So I may have enough on my plate. The budget and finance, however, does not meet regularly, right? It only meets when there's an issue that needs to be, like, to come up with the budget or change the budget. Okay, then if I don't have to call meetings regularly.
And this is for an interim position.
Oh, fine. Yeah, that's fine.
One meeting.
One meeting, okay. Do we have a second for Marge?
I'll second.
Great. Do we have any no's? Any abstentions? All right, Marge, you got another one. Okay, two more. How about, do we have any nominations for interim chairperson of the Public Arts Committee? I would nominate Molly on this one.
I'll second that. Is there anybody else?
For which?
Public arts.
Interim for Public Arts?
Mercy.
Mercy.
Chair of the Public Arts Committee for one meeting?
One meeting, yes.
Okay, you accept?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Who is that?
Marcy.
Marcy.
Rose.
Marcy Rose.
Okay, great, thank you.
Do we have any no's? Any abstentions? Marcy, Public Arts is yours.
When do they meet? When you call a meeting? When you
That's
call-
up to you, interim chair.
I can tell you when they meet.
Alright, last one. Nominations for the Website and Internet Technology Committee. Patrick.
Nominate Jamie.
Second.
Yeah, all the way, that's an easy one. Do we have any no's? And any abstentions? Congratulations, Jamie. Okay, that's enough with the appointments. Next up is item G on the list, discussion possible action to approve up to $500 for more Take One boxes. Molly, would you like to speak about this?
Yes. Can we go back to talk about this?
Sure.
The second signatory, the P card holder?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, good point. Okay.
Unless you can't fund this stuff.
Shit. Very good point. Okay, so we are accepting nominations for the second signer for the funding documents.
I'd like to nominate Molly since she already knows the ropes and I'm gonna need help.
I agree with that. We have a second for Molly.
One second.
Do you accept Molly? Okay.
I'll accept, yeah.
Okay, do we have any no's? Any abstentions? Okay, Molly is the second signer. And following that, do we have any nominations for the P card holder for neighborhood council purchases?
Can it be the chair?
I nominate. And the rationale is, well, he was co-chair of outreach, I don't know if that'll continue to be the case, but he's heavily involved in outreach. And that's a really good, since it's a huge part of our budget, it's an advantageous kind of whatever.
So just for clarification, the person holding the P card is the only one that can make the purchases?
At the direction of the treasurer.
Makes sense. Okay, I'll accept it. Or Molly.
I'm gonna go ahead and self-nominate because, first of all, we have National Night Out coming up. I already have the card in my possession. It's a process to get the card printed and go through all the paperwork and everything, so I think we may want to address this. Historically, it's been the second signer for our neighborhood council that has the P card. Whether or not we want to change that in the future, that's up for board discussion, but I would go ahead and nominate myself to hold on to that for now, get us through this event, and then we can organize.
That makes great sense.
Yeah, just logistically wise, I have to agree, because now we have to get March, we felt the new paperwork and so it's much easier with, we don't have the equation already there. So she has the card ready, so we need to order a new card and then
Agreed.
we need to stop it.
Definitely seems like a sensible decision. Okay, do we have any seconds for Molly also being the P card holder?
I second Molly.
Great. Do we have any no's? Any abstentions? Okay, Molly. You are the P card holder. Okay, back down to item G, discussion possible action to approve up to $500 for more Take One boxes.
Just a discussion point. As part of that budget, I would hope that it would include plastic ties or nuts and bolts that could allow us to post these boxes on, you know, be it wood, or light poles, or electrical posts, and or street signs with metal. There's just various other, you know, potential things that need to be bought to make those work. Besides the little screws that come.
So Molly, for this $500, does that include the stakes as well that go into the ground?
It can, so it has my name on it, but this is actually at the request of the outreach committee, I believe. It was either part of that discussion or part of a discussion at a previous board meeting, so while it has my name, this is actually based on discussion by the board. So they can be purchased with the stakes, kind of like the real estate signs one where you can put them anywhere and they're mobile. Otherwise, you can buy the ones and you can put them up on your front fence or whatever, and they come with a package of screws. And it just takes coordinating going out with the drill.
Great. So then we can say approve for the $500 for take one boxes with the stipulation that we look into alternative ways to post those boxes in places.
Yeah, because I mean, these are for, like she's saying, for picket fence or something for a house for real estate agents, but I'm thinking of it more in terms of outreach to the community and to the village, and it's a more urban street thing, so there's different types of posts. Yeah, there's one currently on electrical poles near the hutch.
I think they
We have
have
three.
just one, 2 holes in the back of them, so that a very long zip tie.
Yes.
It could go through the 2 holes and around something, it's just a matter of, they wouldn't come with that. They come with either the stakes or the screws that mounted on the wood.
Yeah, I needed the zip tie for the metal.
Yeah, that or, string or rope or whatever.
Patrick, are you asking if when we vote to approve this, this can include fasteners? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying, and I'm not for that idea.
Yeah, I mean, just to make it a little more expansive language in case there's somebody's out of pocket or somebody has something obviously a non-issue. We don't want to be constrained.
Yeah, because I've seen one up on the hills, like connected to a telephone pole, and I actually can't remember how it's attached, but I see that as being very useful.
Yeah, the poles are fine because you can screw into them easily, but.
Okay, so what we can do.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't realize because
So what we can do is approve the $500, up to $500 for take one boxes, and allow the outreach committee to decide how those will be posted and where. Yeah, sound good?
I'd like to make the motion to approve up to $500 for take one boxes and assorted zip ties.
Could we change the word zip ties to fasteners?
Sure.
Sure, why not?
I'll second.
Okay. Do we have any no's? Do we have any abstentions? Great, that passes. Okay. Item H, discussion possible action to form an ad hoc committee to organize installation of neighborhood watch signs. Can anybody speak on this?
I can. Okay, so last year at National Night Out, as part of that event, we purchased new neighborhood watch signs because a lot of them are old and rusty in our community. 2 people volunteered to step forward to organize and coordinate putting them up because there is a process involved in that. Unfortunately, they didn't see that through, and so now we have neighborhood watch signs that are sitting in our office that should be out in our community. And so the request is that we form an ad hoc committee to do the paperwork, work with the necessary departments, also work with the area reps. Each area rep is allowed, I think, I'd have to look back, I think it's 7 neighborhood watch signs, new neighborhood watch signs, so coordinating all those entities so that we can have some new neighborhood watch signs up in our community.
Great, sounds good. So to form an ad hoc committee, a committee is 3 members at minimum, correct? Or for an ad hoc, doesn't matter?
For ad hoc, it doesn't matter. If there are only board members, then they can work without necessarily posting an agenda. If they have members in the community, then we do need to work in accordance with the Brown Act.
Great, and if we approve this ad hoc committee to install neighborhood watch signs, who would chair it?
Anybody who step forward to be on the committee.
Is anybody interested?
For the committee.
Great, so For item H, discussion possible action to form an ad hoc committee to organize installation neighborhood watch signs with Patrick Cleary as the chair. Do we have any motions?
I motion.
Any seconds?
Second.
Great. Do we have any no's? Any abstentions? Awesome. Committee is formed, and Patrick, you are the chair.
That's a lot of movement.
All right, I. Discussion possible action for review, edit, approve draft template for submitting agenda item request to executive committee, and there's a supporting document on this. And Marge, you drew this up, correct?
No.
Let's see. Okay. Does everybody have this in their supporting documents or have seen this? It is a basic template on how to submit items to the agenda. It's in a cohesive and standardized form so that it's very easy to implement and get on the agenda. You don't have to do any fishing. Makes complete sense, in my opinion. Y'all seen it?
Do we have a page number for that or something?
On my PDF, it's page 26 of 58, and it's directly after the business cards.
So I was thinking about the template, and while this works for if you have a computer, I was thinking it would be appropriate to reformat this a little bit to add lines, so that if community members attend the executive committee meeting, they can fill it out there on site, and it creates a standardized process and also a record. So you can have it in two formats, and you can have it both physically at the meetings as well as electronically.
That makes great sense. And it can be available on the website? Fantastic.
Would it be like a PDF form of it or something? You can just type it in there if you want it.
That would be awesome if somebody knows how to do that.
PDF.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Cool. Editable PDF online? Okay, do we have any motions to approve this? With the stipulation that we have a in-person template for people to fill out as well as an editable PDF on the website.
Before we get to the motion, just as far as discussion, I did want to just kind of throw out there the possibility that if you're a community member, when you come to the website and you want to say, hey, I really want to talk about, X, Y, Z, you may not want to download a form, fill it out, and send it in. You might like a place where you could type it into the website. So I would be in support of this, especially within the board, for people to use it, and also the kind that you write in, but not to the exclusion of making it easy for community members to quickly add something to the website to the agenda by typing it on the website in a web form, which anyone can do from their phone.
Great. Okay. So same idea, just a better practice of doing it.
Yeah, like more options, not fewer.
Fantastic. Can we have the website committee handle that? The delegation of getting that onto the website? Great. Okay. So do we have any motions to approve item I, discussion possible action to approve, edit, review, draft template for submitting agenda items to the executive committee with stipulations that it is editable on the website for all and it is also present at the executive committees for anybody to fill out in person.
Just a further comment.
Sure.
I would move to approve the draft template. I would be cautious about adding too many stipulations on the board action because that could be stifling.
Okay.
So I would make the motion to approve the template for submitting agenda item request to executive committee, the language provided here, and then allow the committees to do what they do.
Makes sense? Okay.
So the creation of the document does not dictate how it's used, is what you're saying?
The motion would be to approve the template, including the language here, so if that was extracted in some format or whatever, then that would be at the discretion of the committees.
Do you have any motion to approve?
I move.
Any seconds?
Second.
Great. Do we have any no's? Any abstentions? Awesome. Okay, item J, discussion and possible action to review, edit, approve draft letter of thanks to Wendy Moore for her website services and cancel all future services.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Great. Any discussion?
I don't think the letter has been drafted
Yeah, I
yet.
don't see that.
I don't see it in my
Not that-
supporting documents.
Not that it would be a requirement to write a thank you letter, but, just as a point of clarification, but, I would again echo the statement thanking Wendy Moore for her services. She was working in the direction of, the past executive committee, and so she did what she was asked to do, and I appreciate her efforts for our neighborhood council.
That's great. So we can approve, we don't have a draft of the letter to approve, so this is a bit of a murky area. Someone would have to write the letter to approve.
Well, this is a possible action to review, edit, and approve.
I would make the motion for our chair and secretary to work together just on a thank you letter to Wendy Moore for her website services and services to the neighborhood council, and just make it clear that we will no longer be requiring her services at this moment.
Another discussion point, just a thought, is it possible that we might not want to cancel her services until such time as the board votes to approve new protocols? Because we have a new WIC committee and we have ideas in the pipeline, but they're not gonna get approved until later. If it turns out that something breaks on the website, we won't be able to necessarily fix it, because some of the coding that's done on that website was, server coding and stuff that some of us don't have the expertise on.
When you say break, what do you anticipate?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with every detail of the composition of the website, but it's not an out-of-box stock WordPress. There are elements to it that are like, there are scripts installed and stuff. So I'm just saying, if, God forbid, anything was to stop working, it's happened to me before with custom WordPress installations. If we had already said, don't need you anymore, it might feel, I don't know, awkward to be like, actually, can you fix that thing that broke since you're the one who created it? Because I think that when the WIC committee brings its recommendations to the board and then we vote on them and then move forward with creating our own website, basically what we've been discussing, just the few of us who've met, is that it should be a website that can be maintained without that kind of technical expertise. So we don't have to pay somebody like that, but obviously we have to bring that to the board in the future.
But it's all kind of thing.
For Thomas,
Are there other approved vendors?
But she wrote the code that's on there, so it would probably be the fastest. There are scripts that she has written modifications for, because I've dug in a lot, and there's stuff that I don't know how it works, but I've seen like plugins and stuff.
Molly?
So, in my experience working with Wendy, I think she hires outside services to assist with some of the more complicated scripting. And there are other approved vendors, and I have information on them as well. I think that we've probably done more with the website, and much of that is thanks to Jamie's hard work and dedication to it. In the past 3 months than it's probably been updated in the last year. So I would again restate the motion to empower the chair and the secretary to thank Wendy Moore for her website services, all that she's done for the neighborhood council, but at this point suspend our services.
I would agree with that. I have full faith in your ability, Jamie.
I'm just saying it makes me nervous, because if something breaks, I feel like everyone's gonna point the fingers at me before I've had a chance to get you guys' approval for what we are actually doing moving forward.
No worries. And
Okay.
do
As long
we,
as my concerns have been expressed.
noted.
Okay.
Do we have a second for that motion?
A second.
Great. Do we have any no's? And any abstentions? Fantastic. Okay, item K. Discussion and possible action to consider name of GPNC's General Community Stakeholders Meeting. Anybody like to speak on this? Change it from General Community Stakeholders to something that makes a little more sense?
Board meeting.
That's this meeting.
That's right. But I think it should just be called the GPNC board meeting. Because if you say that, people know what the heck you're talking
It
about.
just makes a lot more sense. Even as a board member, general community stakeholder just sounds way too formal. Alright, so we have, you wanna make a motion for that?
I make a motion to just call it the GPNC board meeting.
Would anyone like to second that? Great. Okay. Do we have any no's for this? Got one. Any abstentions? Okay. Alright, item 11, report on National Night Out, and that is myself and Sandy. Would you like to do it?
I just think everything's going smoothly so far. All the CDs have been invited and are participating. Let's see, we have, I know of 2 schools that are going to be there, present with activities for that night out. It's the Los Angeles Charter School of Arts and also the Glassell Park Early Ed Center will be there. I don't have that list with me, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Bless you. The only thing we are missing, and we kind of did a big Google on this one, was the entertainment component of the National Night Out, because we failed to go ahead of the executive board and request money for that. So I am in search of a band or 2 that would want to play with for free. However, they are playing in front of 700 people, so that in itself is something good. It might be a scout out there or talent agent, they'll become famous. So that is the only part that's getting me a little nervous, is that whole entertainment component. I did reach out to SODA, the School of Human History and Dramatic Arts.
Oh, great.
And they're gonna get back to me about perhaps having a quick little play or whatever, maybe even a kind of music concert or something for us, but I'm still waiting to hear back from them on that.
Awesome.
Yes.
The Eagle Rock Music Festival is on August 20th, so perhaps the 2 bands that are playing that
It's in the flyer, right?
do show prior to that. I don't know if there's a rule with the Eagle Rock Music Festival, they have like an area where they can't really perform before, I'm not sure. But you might want to reach out to whichever bands.
That flyer.
They've got great bands to play.
Great, and I was also told to go to some bar, I don't have the name of it, but that there's people there that have new bands and all that.
I would just comment as a musician, it's not cool to ask people to play it for free, and especially when all we have is the PA. We don't have a stage.
We have a stage.
We have a stage.
Oh, we have
Yes.
staging,
Uh-huh.
but there has to be mixing done. Someone has to be there to do that, and you're asking someone to engineer, the sound engineer, to work for free too. And also, if we play, we're in a tough spot because if we play podcasts, iPod music or something, there are performance licensing issues. Like public venues have to have performance licensing. Songwriting organizations like ASCAP can run it. So we could run afoul of that as well. It's the same problem with live music, but played by bands, or it's what DJ Rideau.
So basically, a lot of stuff still in the works for National Night Out. Locking down new vendors every day, crossing people off our list of confirms, and music is still an issue. And like Patrick said, it is actually right out front here. We are closing down the parking lot area, and we're hoping to close down the small section of Verdugo right from the beginning of the community center down to the pool there. That is the status of National Night Out right now.
Can I ask, to be a vendor, to have a food truck here, do they need to pay? What's the process of that?
Food trucks, we currently have Martine, Sandy's husband, cooking a whole bunch of food that we're doing, hot dogs, hamburgers, those kinds of things. But the budget on the food is pretty tight considering what we're doing, if they can do it for cheap, something to discuss.
And also, people aren't supposed to, from my understanding, pay for items for National Night Out.
So it's not that type of event, we're
Right.
inviting food trucks to show up then?
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
I misunderstood, okay.
Should I just speak to the importance of outreach?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Brian, thank you, has printed out the banners for the neighborhood council event, and there's like a bunch of flyers as well. So everybody has a packet that I distributed earlier with help. If you can make sure that you take those and more. If everybody takes the time to put up one banner in our community, it will save so much work. I'm speaking from experience, it takes a lot of time, and it's not easy to go out and take the banners up. So please, there's small banners and big banners, please take those tonight and start putting them up now, because all of this work should be rewarded with a really great community event, bringing people out, and that's not gonna happen without us doing the legwork to let people know that the event's happening.
Definitely word of mouth too. Tell everyone you know, bring your friends. And I also want to thank Brian, thanks for printing everything out. Laura, thanks for following up with our vendors. And Sandy and Molly for being so awesome. Thank you. The tables. Next up, item 12 is report on our GPNC report retreat we had this past weekend.
Oh, awesome. So I first want to thank everybody who participated in the retreat. It wouldn't be a success without you. I think we had a good time.
Yes.
I also want to especially thank Molly for your support and guidance. I basically structured the board retreat to sort of build on itself. So we started out with a SWOT analysis, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And from that, we identified our goals for the year. We identified 3 goals. Number 1 is to have a more informed board on overall just on procedures and how to things like drafting a letter of request, we be more of an activist for our community, and we had some insight information on how to run the meetings. We talked about possibly doing bi-monthly meetings, 1 board meeting, 1 town hall style. So there was a lot of discussion on that. And then the second goal was more outreach and improve the public perception of the board. From that, our strategy was to organize block parties within each area. Area reps would be responsible for that. And we would like to invite a council member to join in on that. We also talked about doing T-shirts or an ID badge so we can clearly identify who the board members are during these events. We talked about doing more outreach to the middle school and high school, where the education rep would be involved, and church outreach through the faith-based rep. Responsible parties were assigned for each of these goals. The third goal was community improvements. So we did talk about the Freshman Town Hall, perhaps having the GPIA and GPNC join forces. Also to band together with other neighborhood councils, especially the ones in the area, like Cedar Royal, Seco, Highland Park, Atwater Village, Elysian, Cypress Park, and Eagle Rock. And yes, so responsibilities were assigned, and I will circulate the notes for everyone on the board. There were 2 tangent discussions, which is procedures for agenda. Jamie was assigned to do that, but we have also voted on a template this evening, so it happened right now.
Well, I still have some ideas.
Okay. And then also improving procedures behind grants and funding was another tangent discussion, which will be up for discussion at a future date.
Great.
And that's it.
Cool, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to committee reports. Bylaws, do we have anybody from the bylaws committee? Jim? Nope, not present. How about Bradley with grants and funding? Not here. Outreach and communications, that's Sandy and I.
Yeah, it's again all national night out right now, so we kind of doubled up on the information.
Yep. So you consider the same thing for the National Night Out report.
As a follow-up to what I was saying, I think we'll be successful without bands. Besides, it's gonna be too loud I remember at the
Oh,
July
that's
3rd
another
event,
point.
that thing
Yeah.
started playing, you couldn't even talk, that was, we're having kids there.
That's a good
in
point.
small space.
Good point. Maybe perhaps next year or something.
Don't know about the glass walls.
What are we gonna put on the stage if there's already gonna be a stage?
Well, unless
There's some
soda
couches,
school
speakers and stuff.
and soda's gonna hopefully.
We could do a product training.
There we go, that'll get the community in.
Oh,
We can do that
Brown-
at 9
brown
o'clock
training.
to get.
Oh, that'd be great.
We can finish our ethics training too. Next up, we got budget and finance. Anybody from budget and finance? Nope. Public arts, Crystal. Nope, keep going down. Website and internet technology, Jamie.
Yeah. So, everything that we're doing is a work in progress, and what we discussed was that everything's open to change as time goes on. But, meantime, we have approved a mission statement, which is the following. The goal of the website is to promote transparent operations of the GPNC and to be accurate, up-to-date, informative, easy to use, and inclusive of all stakeholders. And just to give you a sampling of the stuff that we, the three of us unanimously agreed upon at the last meeting, which we're gonna bring to you guys at the next board meeting for, get you guys officially an approval. One of the things we talked about was having only WIT members modify the website to make it more, sure standards are followed across the board. Ideas for paper reduction. Then we want 3-day turnaround for requests to change the site. That all agendas will be listed in table view. We referenced the Venice Neighborhood Council site. We liked that. That all the supporting documents, and this applies mostly to Colleen, to land use. She's been calling for this, but since WIT is where those will be, on the website is where those will be, we thought we should take a position on this and bring it to you guys. We want all documents relevant to anything that's being discussed in any meeting to be right there on the site, so the community has access to them. We want to make a how-to guide, and then this one, I think kind of has slipped people's notice in the past, but a lot of our documents are in PDF form, which means they are not translatable. Whereas if we put everything on the site, also in in plain text, when you say translate the site, all the stuff gets translated, but the attachments don't. So that was something that we, these were some ideas that we liked. It's not everything, I just kind of wrote down a few highlights. So there's so much to discuss, so anyway.
I want to thank Jamie. Jamie's been doing incredible work pushing the website forward. It's going to be great with all the changes we're making, and I want to thank you for all your hard work. Next up, we got the Economic Development and Land Use reports.
Chair,
Yes.
did we skip over bylaws?
No, they were first, but no one was present.
Well, I'm a member of the committee.
Great, would you like to report?
There were a number of items that were submitted to the committee that were going to be brought to the next committee meeting, possibly. Who is the interim chair? Good, I'll work with Molly on that, but I also just wanted to state that I had a conversation with Gracie the other day, and because there's a lot of changes that we've talked about on the committee, and I asked what the timeline is right now, and could we do a whole block and move things forward quickly? And she essentially said yes, we can follow, they have templates, they have best practices, other neighborhood councils, and so one of on that committee, and Mark is on that committee, were to do a revamp, but I want everybody to read the bylaws and have input on that for us.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you also like to speak for EDLU?
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing about bylaws.
Sure.
We've scheduled a meeting for August 1st, I think. It's the Monday. National Night Out is on Tuesday.
Right.
And then the executive committee meets on the 4th in August. So we're meeting on the 1st so that we can put the stuff together to present at the executive committee.
You don't have to write it down, it's on the website.
Okay, so bylaws. If anybody's interested in meeting August 1st, great. Okay, EDLU.
Yes, there is a number of letters that were submitted, but maybe you all had a chance to read through them, and so I almost want to do this as a block, but pull the letter to
So that is supporting document in the PDF 27, looks like this, got the red draft on it,
It's in red.
and it says, Dear Supervisor Silver.
That one I want to, yeah, separate from.
Great.
Would you like to do that first?
Sure.
So did they actually receive the thing that I did, Marge?
There's 4 sets of them.
We have this. Okay, at the end.
I want to take the last rendition, if you were given things.
Yeah,
Try
that's fine.
to clarify with the red, the stuff that was added since the committee recommendations, crossed out what was. We had one other request from the vice president of the GPIA that we eliminate the paragraph that tells the history back in the 70s. In November, it's my second page, first paragraph, because it would be redundant to what has been sent to the supervisor at this point. So that's my request of the board.
Where is that located on it?
It begins in November of 2002, local residents formed a group called Friends of Preserve Walnut Canyon, and it ends with, over the years, and stay together, committed to seeing Walnut Canyon purchased and preserved.
To strike that entire paragraph.
Strike that paragraph.
Yeah.
Colleen, just making sure we're looking at the red lines one. The red document.
So sorry.
Just making sure we're looking at the same.
Does it look like this? Okay, on the second page, yeah. Chair,
Yes.
over here, please.
Yes.
I would also potentially request that Walnut Canyon is the anchor be removed from the letter, and I'm curious to know how that was determined, considering each of our 4 canyons stands on its own, has its own unique benefits.
I'm not sure where you're going with that. I think what the intent was in writing it was that we wanted the focus to be on Walnut Canyon, but we also wanted to know that we have an interest in 4 canyons in our 4 canyon area, but that in this particular instance, our attention was on Walnut Canyon.
Could be Walnut Canyon's the largest.
It's not.
Oh, is it not? Realize that.
I mean, I guess just personally speaking, because I wasn't at the committee meeting, but in my work with canyon preservation and the importance of that, I think that my opinion is that it adds additional value to one when I think that they all have value, and I would be concerned about that segment.
But maybe I'm not certain of exactly what your point is. Did you not want us to highlight Walnut Canyon? Did you want to emphasize the 4 canyons?
I think again, I think it's a great letter. I think it's well written, and I think that I would support it. But my only concern is calling one specific area an anchor when I think that they are all equally important.
So you use the word anchor?
Yes, I think it's adding additional importance to one when I believe they all share importance to our community.
I would agree also just reading through that, where it flows very nicely, saying that we have a few canyons with undeveloped parcels and speaking to their wildlife and the topography, and then adding that last sentence, but Walnut Canyon is an anchor, feels a little superfluous. I think it stands much stronger without it.
I'm perfectly happy to strike it. The purpose, of course, was we're asking for money for Walnut Canyon. But sure.
Is there a way that we can identify that without making it seem, because we could go back in the future and ask for additional monies for other canyon preservations, and I would hate for it to split the scales.
You know, I think maybe I've stated it clearly enough in the letter. I do talk about how all of them are connected in many ways and their importance, and so I'm be happy if you want to 86 the word anchor, fine.
Is Walnut Canyon the most at risk at the Is that or that
and it's
area?
also the one most likely to get the financial sympathy.
Then if that's the case, if this entire page or this entire letter is focusing on Walnut Canyon, should we mention we have a few other canyons?
She does, she says, so it says that there are many other canyons.
No, I'm saying should we even have that paragraph to begin with? We're focusing on just the one.
In my preference, absolutely.
Okay. I'm just wondering because if by highlighting the rest of them, it shows that yes, we may be having to ask for that in the future to help preserve those, and so I agree with it in that sense. But on the other hand, if we're focusing on just purely Walnut Canyon, I think it would make more sense to focus purely on Walnut Canyon. And that's just my own idea. Open the discussion on that.
I think one of the things that makes Walnut Canyon as valuable as it is the fact that it provides, it's part of a wildlife corridor that includes those other canyons. So I think we want to maintain the idea that Glass Hill Park has a lot of this, and we need to preserve it. And this is the biggest parcel.
Gotcha. I like that explanation more if we can feature it more that Walnut Canyon, while technically is the anchor for this point here, if we can feature that Walnut Canyon is what we're discussing, it also features a lot of
I think the letter says that, frankly.
Yeah,
And I think the only reason that I mentioned the other canyons is because if we're talking about wildlife corridors, there is a connectivity there, and it was all part of the natural waterway and corridor for wildlife down the Los Angeles River. I do think it states that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I wasn't meaning it didn't say it. I meant that's
Right.
That's an added reason why we should keep all the canyons mentioned.
I thought we heard earlier that it wasn't the biggest parcel, you said it was.
Walnut Canyon isn't the
I
biggest.
don't think so, it's just 31 acres.
So very not the biggest?
I'm just concerned on look, we're all somewhat grammar plus it's unsupportable. It's like symbolic language to say an acre, you know, it's a lot of sentence.
Happy to pay you.
Yeah, we
You
could
could just say
I don't
it's
wanna
the
make it
focus
so
of the
that's
letter.
Totality of the letter is focused on Walnut Canyon, you know, so.
I would
strike that sentence. I would move to approve the letter.
Before we vote on the letter, and I have to apologize that I completely spaced, but I had agreed to bring some stuff to this meeting. And I can have anybody who wants to go on their phone look at it. But if you go to earthla.org, when Neela Green Space had a hike of the Four Canyons back in November, I sat down and did a bunch of academic research, all from peer-reviewed journals, talking about the importance of green space, how it's particularly, like, if you want to look at the benefit of green space, it's good in affluent communities. It makes the most difference in communities that have a lot of low-income residents, and there's a lot of academic research that bears that out. And so I compiled a bunch of research to use in this booklet that we handed out on the hike. Some of it points to that thing that I just said. Some of it's just in general about the benefits of green space to making a community friendlier, more cohesive, people spending more time outdoors, blah, 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 a whole bunch of stuff. I have this entire just huge thing of research. I got used for that one booklet, and I say it would kind of give some weight to the letter to include that research, because it's like, look, we researched this. They don't have to know that I sat and researched that for a different event for the canyons, but I wanted to suggest that we send the letter and say, and it's not just a community desire, it's also supported by all this research. So I'm sorry that I'm not pointing, but again, it's the last post that was made on earthla.org, which is, so if anyone wants to look at that, but that's, I wanted to ask to include that when we send the letter.
I think it might actually be more powerful as is if we strike the in November 2002 paragraph as well as the anchor paragraph. I think the last paragraph in particular speaks well to that. Without this is where knocking. I think it's more concise and easier, and plus there's no guarantee that if it goes, people are going to read through all that anyway.
Well, no, it would be more like a bibliography.
Phyllis is well educated on this, so I wouldn't want to insult her intelligence. She's done a lot of work already with open space.
It's more that it shows that we put in the work. it looks like somebody put in hours and hours and hours, because they did, and then they think we sat and researched this just for the sake of sending out this letter. It looks like we really did our homework. I don't know, I think it makes it look really professional.
I can see the merit in it. Molly, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I made the motion to approve the letter striking that paragraph that Lee requested in the sentence about the anchor.
Right.
I kind of, with respect, would suggest modifying it to just delete the whole paragraph, the third one. Because it's really, that last sentence is part of the first sentence. It doesn't make sense without it. Is that okay with you, Ellen?
With all due respect, it's really difficult to write these letters, and particularly in a 3-day turnaround period where Mark and I did all of these. So be generous, folks.
I was against the third paragraph at first, but more and more I read it, I think it fits well, and it's kind of a little bit of a backstory. I would move to approve the letter striking the line, but Walnut Canyon is the anchor, as well as striking the in November 2002 paragraph. I think the third paragraph works great.
I'll second.
Okay, do we have any no's? And any abstentions? Great. Okay, that is the item G2. All right, next up. Item I, we skipped over that real quick. So we have EDLU committee meetings, which are the final Thursday of each month. If you can't attend, please send a message to lu-comments@glassellparknc.org. And all emails will be read at the next committee meeting. Yes.
Land use is one of the things that created neighborhood councils. And right now, we have a very embarrassing land use committee. We need participation from this board to get involved and help right this ship. So I just want to encourage anyone who has the slightest interest to please get involved with this committee. And I'm planning to do some land use 101 trainings. There's no need to train on anyone. It's okay.
Please let us know when you had it. Great. I know I want
By
to.
that she means join the committee. And that is, hang on, 23rd?
All right.
26th.
So moving on to item G3.
Sorry, 28th, sorry.
28. The final Thursday. So item G3, discussion possible action to approve, disapprove a letter regarding 3920 Barry-Knoll Drive, not Brilliant, right? Is it Brilliant? Brilliant, okay. And that is 29 here to Mr. Gregory Shue.
Yes.
The request is a leak from Everybody would like to comment on this?
This is a very typical letter, right, about the road improvement, or is there something special about it?
Yes, well, there are two things that can happen. One is we simply address what caused them to have to seek relief for something, and the other is that we can have opinion about what that is on top of that. This is simply dealing with the city ordinance, and what he was asking relief from is two things. One is widening the street down to Collector Road, which is always automatically granted. And the second was relief from opening up the road in front of his property to the 10 feet minimum from the center line divider to the property line. And we were not approving of that because it would create a road that would be less than 20 feet wide, which we think is very dangerous on our hillsides.
So this is unusual in the fact that he doesn't even want to do the wide road in front of his own property.
It probably costs more money for where the property is located. Of course, people always try to see the variance when they're putting in.
Not looking at a map, where is this on Brilliant?
I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
It's above my house.
Above your house?
Okay, because
It's
I'm
above your
38.
house.
Up
Oh.
the street.
I mean, your house is at the top of the hill,
To the
so.
left, and that's brilliant. Brilliant places to the right, and Little Drive
Oh,
is that dirt road to the left,
okay,
where the new houses are
right,
built.
it's another new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a really narrow, dangerous area.
And so this developer is trying to subvert the 20-foot minimum? Got it.
That's the way.
Until we were just like, no, you can't do that in front of your own house.
We have no control.
Right, but I thought we
It's the board, and the board will determine what they want to determine, and then the city will see what.
Right, but I thought that the letter we were writing was saying that we were not okay with him not improving in front of the house.
Yes, that's what.
Okay.
Yes.
So I make a motion to approve the letter.
Second.
Great. Holly?
I'm just curious, I may have missed this, but how much of a distance is it between where the road is improved to where his property is?
I think he wanted, was it 2 feet or something like that, so that he would only be improving the 8 foot, which was not to be a major improvement for him. Legally, he's only responsible for from center line divider to property line, and they consider the other side.
You know, not quite what I'm asking. So, for example, on Kinney Street, they're sort of piecemealing the improvements of the road all the way up, right? So for Brilliant, what's distance between where the road is 20 feet and improved to where this property is, and we're asking him to improve that one section?
Ah, good question. I'm not exactly sure. I love the question because the law is on the books, it's just never enforced.
Lots.
And there's no sidewalks on any other streets.
Yeah,
Down
So it just goes road, lot?
The reason on it is that they're making one person responsible for every lot all the way down. So they found that they can't support that in a court of law.
Right.
So therefore they automatically give it away.
So this is for
Good.
the meeting, is that that's a variance, they're always granted.
But that
he's
doesn't
asking
mean
for-
that we still can't make whatever statements this board chooses to make.
Right.
I guess, did they provide photos of where this lot is in comparison to, like, is it on a dirt road, is it semi?
I know where it's at.
Yeah, I have a Google photo of where
It's facing a canyon.
It's the one with the guy, it's next to the guy with the signs that say, "Don't let your dog poop on my property."
Yeah. It is, I know exactly where.
It's on Brilliant, it's the Brilliant that it circles round, it starts at
Oh, I know
Cazador
where
and
it
comes
is.
back out where we had
It's
to,
on the back
where we
side.
had to display that thing.
The actual road itself is no wider, it's gotta be 2 of these tables wide,
Jeez.
that's very narrow road.
Okay.
Is it the one behind Andy's?
Yes,
Is that the lot?
yes,
Is it?
yes.
It's, so this is the one that they started construction on and then this is,
Right.
construction was suspended, or is this a lot next to it?
It appears to be one of those two.
Because the lot that was excavated, but then halted for whatever reason, is causing the house next to it to collapse into itself. So I'm curious to know.
I think so.
Afraid I don't know.
Now I know why something happened at a meeting too.
So I guess for me, because I know this area really well, I'm wondering, is this the only option available to the board as we consider this letter?
The board is capable of doing anything they want to do.
I understand that, but I want to, I don't want to be unreasonable, because I realize that they're not going to listen to what we say, and we say you're responsible for improving the whole road anyways, because that's just how it goes, right? So I'm wondering if there's anything that we can request in addition to this that will hold weight as part of the letter, just so we know what all of our options are.
Absolutely. You could say something to the regard that this neighborhood council has great concerns about roadway safety and failures in this area. I mean, you can make the statement that you want to make, and depending on who the ZA is, it will be part of their consideration. They still haven't improved now, they're
this area really well, and the roadway on this part of Brilliant is barely improved. Like, dirt from the hillsides flows down into the street. The street is probably not even at what is considered code. Like, it's just sort of
Paved horse path.
yeah,
It's
pretty
not
much.
It's not even paid.
Yeah, and I think while we balance the need for housing in our community, we also have to balance the quality of life and infrastructure for the residents that currently live there as well. And so I'm wondering how we can strike that balance with this letter, and I think that identifying infrastructure is really important. I would also mention as a secondary note that this would be a feeder road if they were to develop Walnut Canyon for the 32 homes. So if we're going to be piecemealing the construction of this bridle path, considered a road, we have to look at things not only as a project, but we have to look at a holistic view of our neighborhood as well. And this is all potential of 32 new homes traveling down this unimproved road with additional homes. I don't know quite how to word it, but I think it needs to be done.
Well, let's keep it narrow so they can't build these homes.
This is a feeder road that requires special attention. This neighborhood council has great concerns about the safety.
Infrastructure, both for vehicles as well as pedestrian and quality of life. Emergency vehicles, thank you. I don't think a fire truck could actually fit down that Brilliant.
Yeah, that it
No, a hookup ladder, no way.
Yeah.
Wait, was this at the end of the road?
It looks like it's in the middle.
No, it's in the middle. I'm gonna photo it. It's really, it's on a little narrow strip.
So would somebody like to make a motion?
Would you like to hear just a quick thing there? Okay, this is a feeder road that requires special attention. The Sensei has great concerns about infrastructure for pedestrians as well as vehicles, especially emergency vehicles. You want to wrap up sentence we therefore?
What's your suggestion for the therefore?
Therefore, we support the DA.
Um,
We are supporting the
exactly.
So
what you're saying is you want-
it would continue on to what's already written here.
Let's do it. I mean, I don't think we'll get it, but we should, I always think that we should make a point of what we would want. So what we do think is right.
So what you're saying is this paragraph is in italics, the we support and the we do not support. You would like to say we do not support in both places.
And I'll just add the sentence for why we don't.
In between, put we do not support the ZAA request for those reasons, and then we do not support the ZAD request for the reason that we've got.
Perfect.
Well, we don't need to read.
I would agree with that, and I'll move to agree with edits.
I'll second that.
Great. You got all that, Helene?
Right.
Can I just comment that like this kind of discussion that we're having about this letter, it would be cool if all of these things went in before the letter was initially drafted. So like, oh, you should join EdLuck and say those things at that meeting before the letter gets drafted. And if you guys want these discussions to be shorter at these meetings, if you join EdLuck, maybe that could happen.
And once again, final Thursday of each month. And we have a motion and a second right now?
Yes, we do.
Do we have any no's? Do we have any abstentions? Okay. Let me know when you're good writing, Helene, we can go to the next one.
Good.
Great. G4, discussion possible action to approve, disapprove letter requesting a study and subsequent installation of a scramble crosswalk at San Fernando Road in either Division or Cazador. There's a supporting document as well.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this letter.
scramble crosswalk?
It's the diagonal one.
It's the four-way crosswalk there in Pasadena.
It's not to approve the crosswalk, it's to approve a letter asking them to do a study about it.
Okay.
Across from the school. Going across. What is San Mateo?
So that's there.
Same
How is it safe? But how does it make it any safer?
Makes everyone stop all at the same time.
It's an all-stop.
They tried it at Highland and Hollywood, and it's stopped all pedestrian deaths.
Yeah, and Pasadena too in Old Town.
And this one in Glendale.
But I heard a Wookiee got here.
So we have a motion to approve, do we have a second?
Just to be clear, this is the agenda item request form, so this letter will have to be written with this exact language, but it needs to be formatted as a letter as opposed to, we can't just send this agenda request.
Exactly. So we need somebody to draft the agenda, is that the secretary? Madam Secretary.
Wait, what am I doing?
So this is the agenda motion here, and we need to, if we approve this agenda motion to create a letter, you would be creating that letter.
Okay.
Somebody sent me all this for that.
Yeah, these two things. So you just, yeah, I'll send this to you, but you can pretty much just extract the described and then, a little in detail, and then put that under the letter request template.
And then we need to talk about to whom the letter goes.
And we'd approve the letter at the next meeting, correct? Or,
No, we're
No,
approving it now.
we're approving the language that's in here, I mean, we're not gonna
Right.
change the language, so
okay.
it's just formatting.
Cool.
We need to discuss
Who's
where
it
this
going to?
goes.
It says all appropriate agencies, who would that include?
I will give for that.
Fantastic.
So, do we have now we have a motion and a second, or no second yet?
We need a second.
I'll second that.
Great. Okay, do we have any no's? And any abstentions? Great. All right, next up,
Mr. Chair,
yes,
Madam Chair, we might need to vote to absolutely extend the meeting if
most definitely, let's see, we are still in committee reports, we have community impact statements and reports from liaisons.
12 o'clock maybe or something.
No, not at all. All right.
No more discussion.
3 a.m.
Right.
So the rest of this is land use.
There's a letter for Lavelle.
Do we want to get through this land use and table community impact statements and reports from liaisons, since it's all to us?
We could always, if everybody has reviewed the community impact statement, you can always do them as a consent calendar. So that
Okay.
just means
In which
we
case
approve
we
them all at once.
approve them all at once.
But,
Great.
But some of these are, I mean, unless you've all read them, some of them are things that we might not want. I mean, I didn't really look, I read them, but whether or not we want to support them.
Right. We also have the recommendations from the executive committee, what we thought was correct at the time, if that bears any
That's all
factor.
that's in here.
Okay, perfect.
I didn't agendize anything that we said we didn't like.
Gotcha, okay.
That's what we were doing.
Wait, but can I just ask, just because a community impact statement topic is in there, like sometimes are they worded such that you're supposed to vote no on them to support the thing, and sometimes you're supposed to vote yes on them, so would it even make sense to vote all one way on the packet of them? Or are they always
That's what I'm
worded in
saying.
such a way?
If we've all read them and we all know that we want to approve them, then we can consent them. But if we need to look at them and say, you know,
Because I mean, I remember going over those in that executive committee meeting, but I don't remember, I remember being like, yeah, we should vote on those topics, but I don't remember that they were all yes votes or no votes.
Can you bring the meeting back to order?
Sure, definitely. So we're still in committee reports. Let's finish up the land use. So we're at 5. Discussion, possible action to approve, disapprove a letter regarding 3553 Lavelle Street.
What's the address again?
3553 East Lavelle.
Thank you. Sorry, I don't have the letters in front of me, but I believe this is the one that we totally disapproved of.
Yes, to not support this project for the following reasons: lack of information from the developer, serious concerns voiced by neighbors, the footprint of the home in relation to the lot, there was no tree survey, no landscape plans, and the renderings the committee receives are just a much smaller footprint than what we are shown. A lot of bad in this. The EDLU committee voted to recommend not supporting the project for the above reasons, with 7 in favor and 2 abstaining. Everyone reading? Well, no?
I'd move to approve the letter recommendation.
I second.
Great. Do we have any more discussion? No? Do we have any no's? Any abstentions? Great, it's approved. Next up. Item 6, discussion possible action to request outreach committee seek public opinion regarding request for city proclamation of Glassell Land as honorary official second name for Glassell Park.
This is sort of a token thing that one person in the committee got a wild hair about and maybe wanted to move on. And there was a mixed reaction to that among the committee members. It was decided to just bring it here.
Sure. Well, let's see. Would anyone like to make a motion to make Glassell Land the honorary official second name for Glassell?
That's not the motion. The motion is to send it to the outreach committee to seek public opinion.
Would anyone like to make that motion? Molly?
I would not like to make the motion.
I second that.
And I think that we should, unless they want to take it back to the outreach committee personally, I think we should just let it go.
How do they do that? Take it back?
Just
What do
don't-
you mean by take it
If they would have to go to the outreach committee and make the request of the outreach committee, or I'm not in favor, yes, I'm not in favor of the board directing the outreach committee to take this on because I don't think that we need a second name.
Anybody else?
I think it's.
We have a motion and a second, I think, don't we?
To not approve.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Correct.
basically just ignore the item, right?
Take
Move on.
I believe, or what's the procedure to it?
If there's nobody willing to make the motion, then we move on.
But we have a motion to not approve, so.
No, I didn't make the motion.
I didn't mean that.
Okay, gotcha, so
That was a mistake.
moving on then.
Terrible.
Discussion 7. Discussion possible action to revise standing rules to define purpose and protocols of the EDLU committee, including, but not limited to, all documents received from city planning, applicants, developers, or any source must be shared with the entire committee upon receipt. 2, a committee member who is also a board member and no one else will contact all applicants. 3, land use issues must be placed on the EDLU agenda before city planning committee meets. And 4, all emails between EDLU chairperson, recorder, and board members assigned to contact applicants, developers, city personnel must be CC'd to EDLU committee members.
Modification, it's not always possible for land use issues to be placed on the agenda before the city planning committee meets. But the way that we had requested, I think I was the one who requested this. The idea was that we would make our best effort to do that. But if it's a must and then we slip, it's gonna, I don't know.
I'd like to strike 3 from this group.
Great.
We can't just modify it?
It's not practical. More or less, it's forcing us to do certain things, and what we're going to be doing is the best that we absolutely can. And this is going to tie our hands up, and not everything that goes through planning necessarily should come to.
Can I possibly get you to entertain that we say land use items be placed on the agenda as soon as is practical, rather than waiting months? I see items that it took months from when we got sent them to when they showed up on the agenda.
Sometimes there is a timeliness about it, but oftentimes it takes a couple of years for a project to move forward. And the important thing is that we are able to weigh in before a ZA hearing, if possible. But those things are random and they can extend for months, if not years.
Right, but if we hear them as soon as is practical, then we've weighed in very early in the process before anything happens. Then is that
My argument is that we are as practical as we can be, and I don't see the need to place that in a wording.
Do you think we're comfortable with should?
instead of must?
Why?
I think it should.
I think if you want the flexibility, that should be granted.
Or like should make best efforts.
Or just add comma if possible.
Can I just point out though that this isn't just about what the land use committee finds easy, it's about what's best for the community, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, Helene. Helene is not responsible for this not happening. And if Colleen was in charge, this would be happening without any mandate.
Sure.
She's on the ball. But I guess I would say that as the Glassell Park Board, do we think this is something that we want to be kind of like within the parameters of one land use to operate?
Go ahead, Molly.
So I would suggest that in addition to all documents received from city planning, blah, 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 that the chair and secretary of the neighborhood council just be included so they understand kind of what's going before the committee and just to kind of keep an eye on what it should be on the agenda in the future and what's coming in and what's going out. Speaking from experience, it's totally in the dark, and I think that it would be really helpful for the executive committee to be kept in the light on that. I understand where Helene is coming from, and I understand where Jamie is coming from on this. I would probably be in favor of keeping it, and I would not be opposed to must because I just know how neighborhood councils work. I would be okay with replacing must with should, but I think it's important to be very, very clear with what our expectations are, whether we're working together as a unified body or there are issues that come up. Because when issues do come up, you need to have the enforceability clause, and I think that this gives us a little more accountability to that from that committee. Just a suggestion.
So you're suggesting that the word must gives it teeth. It's a matter of enforcing or not?
Yeah, I would say that, and maybe the city planning committee, maybe that's the wrong entity to include on this. But I think that there should be some accountability to land use issues being placed on our agenda within the timeline.
My issue with that is accountability and teeth and all of that is just great, except that when someone breaks the rule, we have no mechanism whatsoever to rectify it. I mean, people can egregiously break standing rules and bylaws, and no matter what happens, we are told, well, that, you know, there's nothing that we do about it. Nothing happens regardless of how much paper we, you know.
Supposedly there isn't a grievance process in place now to be done.
Okay.
Unless it's
Unless
for
it's
funding
funding.
in the 60s.
So if we go ahead and give this teeth, then we can work on the grievance process, and at least we've done this correctly. Molly?
Yes, I would agree with that, and there are neighborhood councils that can hold board members and committee members responsible. It just goes back to the bylaws and how the bylaws are written.
Sure.
Unfortunately, ours are not written in such a way that it allows for that accountability. However, if we review them, the potential is there.
Sounds like a good idea to take on here, Chair. Patrick, good comment?
Well, I thought you were, couldn't you provide an example of when it would be best practice to go to,
Only if you have time with that particular project and you have 10 items on your agenda. Each of our items can easily take up to an hour of discussion. It sometimes just kind of goes that way. I mean, I don't mind adding to it. The truth of it is that we really need to look at best practices and protocol for this committee. It's pretty much a mess and really has to get tied together. I see this as an attempt to do that, and I appreciate it. I think that it will have to be added to and refined, and there's a lot of work to do. And a lot of that is that we're also not in it because of the reputation that this committee has gotten. And I think is one of the reasons why we have not been able to work closely with our council offices, who in many instances are the first to receive this type of information and should be working with us hand in hand. I hope to change that.
Good, yes.
It looks to me like this item is about revising the standing rules, not saying that the board necessarily, I mean, is this something that's going to be sent to bylaws? Or is this going to just circumvent bylaws and?
So pardon my rookiness on this, do we change the standing rules if the common practice do send it to bylaws, they change it?
Bylaws usually handles wording in the standing rules. You don't have to go to bylaws, the board can do whatever they want. But ordinarily, this type of these types of things come to the bylaws committee and they recommend with the language written out the way they want it.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay, fine.
I only because I think that if you look at the makeup that has not changed, we'd still be fighting an uphill battle. I think whatever we do has to have board inclusion.
And I would agree with that, especially on the sense of expediency.
Yeah.
Trying to change things as quickly as possible to right the ship, as Celine put it very well. I understand the merit of sending it to the bylaws committee, but I think it makes perfect sense as is right now. You had a comment, Jamie?
Yeah, I was gonna say urgency, every month that passes that we don't fix it is another month when our community is being let down. And then I was just gonna say, after hearing Molly weigh in, I think we should keep must. Even though I originally said maybe say should, so I'm gonna go with must.
Great, and to wrap this up.
Just want to add one comment.
Sure.
Okay, my last comment is, we don't post until, we give ourselves a week in advance because of all the paperwork and notification that we have to do. So I have 2 days that I can alter an agenda and put these things in and start moving right now. My preference would to make this be a joint board and land use committee meeting. So that hopefully we have as many board members showing as possible to help craft this and design this committee the way that I'd like to see it.
Molly, last one.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to revise the standing rules to define purpose and protocols of the Economic Development and Land Use Committee, including but not limited to items listed. The only update I would include, and this is the motion, would be to include the chair and secretary in item I.
Of the board.
Yes. The chairperson and the secretary of the neighboring council.
I'll second that.
Okay. Can I possibly ask about the amendment, and if this is out of bounds, I apologize, but is it too far to ask that we also say and will appear on the website?
Real quick, your
All
reason behind it.
documents received from city planning, blah, 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 must be shared with, et cetera, and will appear on the website? And must appear on the website?
And
Or do we need to put that, does that need to get placed on an agenda with that specific language, is what I'm not sure.
Will it happen otherwise?
I mean, I was planning to already put that on a future agenda, if not, but.
That sounds like something more that would fall into the WIP best practices than EDLU.
Right, but another perspective could be that in order for the community to have access to the documents, the website is the place where they need to be. And I mean, I think the board has the right to dictate how the website is handled. The WIT is just there to make those recommendations to the board.
Molly?
I would accept that. I would accept the friendly amendment. All documents received from city planning, blah, 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 will be shared with the entire committee upon receipt. Also, with the chairperson and secretary, to be placed on the neighboring council website.
Okay, so we share it with the entire community upon receipt.
absolutely, do we need to specify electronic, if you're not going to make copies of electronic stuff?
On the website.
It should be located on the website. Okay, so we have a motion to approve with the stipulations under I. All documents received from city planning, applicants, developers, or any other source must be shared with the entire committee upon receipt, including the Glassell Park Neighborhood Council chair, secretary, as well as the website.
And I second.
Great. All right, any no's? And any abstentions? Fantastic. We've gotten through the land use. Good. The only things we have left are community impact statements, and I would like to table the reports until a different time.
I'm sorry, I know the time is, I do have one important thing to say, if you could just give 1 minute to number 15.
I'm sorry, can I excuse myself? Or will we not have a quorum any longer?
No, you're okay. That means if anybody has to leave, it's well past the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, 14, I remember it was spoken earlier to blanket approve. Would anybody like to make that motion?
Move the table.
Move the table? Second, all right. Do we have any discussion?
I can just tell you that some of this stuff's not gonna be timely anymore.
Exactly.
Actually, you know what, can I withdraw that?
Absolutely.
I would say that we should support allowing Northeast Area LAPD and go on record for them accepting their donation to the show of goodwill.
Thank you, Molly. So you would like to skip past 1, 2, 3, 4, and move to 5?
Yeah, I would move to approve 14.5.
Okay, do we have any seconds for that? Great. Any no's? Any abstentions? Perfect. Okay. Is anything else on here, Marge, off the top of your head? Do you know if anything is timely?
I don't. I mean, I would think that the one about ridge lines might be, I don't know. But some of these are about, like, this is to prepare a report, so it's not like something's gonna happen right away. This one is instructing the planning department to include a statement in its departmental reports each time a project is considered. This is about the rent stabilization ordinance and people basically booting out tenants in order to be able to flip a house. So I don't know how soon they're gonna talk about this.
Maybe visit that one.
Actually, so since all this is passed the executive committee, has everyone had a chance to read these supporting documents?
The only one I know anything about is the LAPD one we just voted on, and I think that one may be outdated, but I'm not sure.
That one, let's see, I don't really know.
Well, it was only received on June 7th, so that would be amazing
I
quick action.
spoke with, I forget his name, he's from one of the main officers, not a lead officer, because they were saying he'd already raised the money for the badge. I'm gonna talk to him.
Oh, they've raised the money. This is to approve the city allowing them to accept the donation.
Oh, okay, I see, okay, that makes sense.
For the sake of timeliness and for these letters as well as this meeting, I'd like to make a motion to blanket approve the remaining community impact statements as well.
So we would want to support.
Support in favor of all. If you all are ready to read the documents.
I don't think there's one about filming
Yes, there's one about asking for a.
I thought we voted that one down.
What if we,
Nope,
this
that one
is a
didn't get
possible motion,
Got
could
it.
we make a motion for one person to read the text of each one, just the text, not the supporting things, to jog people's memory, and then no discussion, just a vote? Could we, is that something we could agree to do stuff without discussion, or is that against the law? That would be faster.
Alright, let's move this real quick. 14AI, regarding a possible ridgeline ordinance. This is, if I remember correctly, I'm looking at the supporting document right now. Planning Board on red light protection. In response to a motion, council filed, the file is expired, was last considered by Land Use Management Committee on July 26, 2013. It would benefit city residents and all interested stakeholders to know the location of existing ridgelines and to enact clear standards that will protect all city neighborhoods containing ridgelines and will also protect neighborhoods with unprotected ridgelines. Basically meaning you cannot plan and develop on protected ridgelines that would change the look of a neighborhood. For example, the Hollywood Hills, if you had stuff right on top of the Hollywood sign, it would look ridiculous.
I second.
It's just to approve a report. There's
Right.
cost information for creating an ordinance, so.
Correct.
Unbelievable they don't have this information.
Correct. So we have a second. Do we have any no's? Any abstains? Great, that's approved. Item 2, motion regarding planning department statement regarding removal of rent stabilization ordinance units and project file sent to the Plum Committee.
Move to approve.
Do we have any seconds?
Yes.
Great. Any no's? Any abstentions?
Can you just read a little bit of that one?
Sure. In 2006 and 2007, the council adopted 2 ordinances which incorporate the state Ellis Act provisions in the city rent stabilization ordinance. The Ellis Act allows landlords the right to take off units off the rental housing market should they no longer wish to offer those units. The 2 city ordinances prescribe that rental units constructed to replace units demolished or removed from the rental housing market and offered for rent within 5 years are subject to the RSO. Recently, there have been land use cases where an applicants objecting to, this is low risk, proposed project covered that they are losing their rent stabilized apartments due to the Ellis Act for the purpose of converting an apartment building to another use without any compensation for relocation assistance.
Close the loophole in the abuse of the Ellis Act.
So it's to help people who are in rent stabilized apartments, not to screw them over.
Correct.
So you identify
Properties under the RSO and include that information as part of their reporting.
Correct.
So I move to approve it.
Second.
Second. Do we have any no's? Any abstentions? Great, this one passes. Okay, this one. I'm familiar with this, I remember this one. This is motion 160585 regarding controlling coyote population. This was a vaguely worded letter, basically saying that they want to kill coyotes to help local neighborhoods.
Talk about gentrification.
And they, the term they used was the city council should immediately review the Animal Services Department coyotes management programs, because they currently do not kill, to ensure that the department is prioritizing resident safety through deterrence of these wild animals in our neighborhood, in addition to the department's efforts to educate residents about coyote behavior.
I vote to not approve this or skip over this one.
That's not what we do with community.
Yeah, I would.
What you say is, we oppose this motion. You can support the motion or oppose the motion.
Thank you, Marge.
But not weighing in is basically saying go right ahead.
Gotcha.
I would move to oppose this and be very clear that we share our Los Angeles with wildlife and that we should do everything we can to keep them at a distance, but also euthanizing them is totally unacceptable.
And this neighborhood council especially is right in the thick of things with coyotes, so.
I mean, I have a friend who was walking her dog in Legion Park, and actually, her dog was attacked. So I understand the concerns of the council.
Was it dog?
But I think it's, you know, she's walking a dog in Legion Park, and it's a drought.
So we have a motion for it, a second to oppose.
I oppose the motion too, but I'm just saying there's a legitimate concern.
So in our opposition, we should specify that there are better practices than euthanizing these coyotes. And if you take into account
in Legion Park.
Yeah,
in
you
the
only
dark.
have, you only have a certain amount of room, so you just take the position against the council motion.
Can I ask who's writing it?
Marge or Brian or Cody for that.
And so we have the motion, and Patrick, did you second?
Yeah.
Okay, so motion is to oppose this letter, or this document. Any no's? Any abstentions? Okay. Next one is a motion regarding extending the time for appellate decisions at direction of City Council President or his or her designee. So this is saying that Municipal Code section time for appellate decision requires the City Council to make a decision on a land use case that is being appealed within 75 days after the expiration of the appeal period. This 75-day time limit may be extended by mutual written consent of the applicant and the council. And often or not, more times than not, City Council is not in session, so these days go by and then they come in and your deadline is like this and they don't get to it and there it goes out the window. So this motion is requiring the City Council to extend it through mutual written consent of the applicant as well as the council, so that you don't get thrown out.
Colleen, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I did. I gave my opinion at the executive board meeting on it. I want to get forward with this.
Sure.
So you approve of this?
Is that what we would do?
Yes.
So moved.
Do we have any?
Second.
Great. Any no's? Any abstentions? Okay. Alright, two more guys. Resolution to support city council resolution to support equal access to justice for victims of gun violence act.
This would allow for victims to request or file lawsuits, is that correct?
Against who? Gun
But
manufacturers?
yeah.
Oh, yes.
What is the thing that got Bernie in hot water?
I believe
Oh,
this
Bernie.
is the state or city council motion. I believe this is one where it would allow victims of gun violence to sue the gun manufacturers, but.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's all city provided.
Yeah.
I vote to approve it, to support it.
I vote no. So we have to approve and no. I don't see it. To oppose. It's one of the last ones on here. I have it as page 45. It starts with resolution, whereas any official position of the city of Los Angeles with respect to legislation. It looks like this.
Okay, got it.
It's towards the end. It's got a lot of capital whereas on the left.
I'll second.
Second to what?
Second to what?
So Jamie's motion to approve. The original motions.
I vote that I oppose this motion because I don't think it's these symbolic, motions that have no teeth are just ways to state your opinion in a, official capacity.
Although if
Although I
all of us neighborhood councils support it, then city council will be more likely to support it, and then if they support it, it's more likely to become law, in which time people will be able to sue gun manufacturers. So if you don't like that, don't.
I have a feeling this is warrants a little bit more of a discussion than we're giving it. Would anyone?
There's a motion in a second, so.
Do a motion in a second,
you could-
but we also have two opposed.
No,
We
but
can take it to a vote.
Once the motion's on the floor and then the second, you gotta take it to a vote.
Copy. Okay. So, the motion is to approve this document. Do we have any no's? No.
I personally agree with it, but it's just, so I'm not gonna vote.
Okay. Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay. 2 abstentions, 2 no's.
Billy Greenfield.
What is that add up to? That's 4 out of how many? 3, 6. That passes them. So 4 out of 10. That doesn't.
I would ask that you call the vote,
Yeah.
just to ensure that.
Yes.
Okay. Call the vote.
Can you wait for me 1 second?
Sure.
Thank you. Alright.
All good? Okay, so the motion is to approve this resolution. John?
So they're saying if somebody gets shot, then they could sue the gun manufacturer.
Correct.
Not against it.
That's no. Jane?
Yes.
Marie?
I still abstain.
Sure. Patrick?
Yes.
Polly?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Brian?
No.
Slow down.
Sorry.
Molly, Patrick. Yes, yes, and then Robert, no? Where are we? Brian.
Sandy.
Sandy.
It was
Sandy,
yes.
yes. Brian, no.
Brian.
Good. Laura?
Yes.
Okay.
Billy?
Abstain.
And Ben myself is no. Okay.
Okay, it's gonna pass anyway. It's
Alright.
time.
The last one we're out of here. 14, item 7, report regarding planning department's report on second dwelling units. Helen, can you speak on this at all?
I don't remember, I'm sorry. It's limited.
It definitely is. I am also not up on this one. Can anybody speak on this one? The letter
This one,
is,
I know that I wanted it to be part of the consent.
Is this one more to allow more people to build granny houses in the backyard?
I think it was
Yes.
protections.
Well, it's allowing if you have the existing property
Oh,
to now actually use it as a second. If you have a grant.
turn it into a legal rental.
Yeah.
It still has to meet all of the city code.
So it would have to be brought up to code.
Completely.
So there's no harm.
So would it change anything if a person had, say you had some old granny thing in the backyard, but you're not really renting it legally or whatever, and you don't want to change it to a legal rental, does it mean they can come in and still do anything with code, or they would leave you alone?
Leave you alone. It's an as is.
So it's, when someone wants to change something into a legitimate, above board, pay a check rental with whatever, then they want you to bring it up to code, but they allow you to do it.
Of course, I can't remember how this is written exactly, so.
I think it's grandfathering in, previously approved units and then also bringing,
Allowing for.
harmonizing state rules there and city rules.
My only, and I like way out of my depth with any land use, anything really, but my only concern with this would be just population density issues and zoning.
And that's on another bill, that's been moving through, that's being pushed largely by, council member in the first district. And there are a lot of people that have concerns about this, but I think this one is just about grandfathering in what exists.
Yeah, I think about this at the executive committee meeting, but my concern was that I'm not sure if the information was there if once a property granting unit is legal, if the property is then defined as a duplex property and would either qualify or not qualify as part of the LSAC. So I think I would need additional information just based on my experiences in order to take a position on this.
And that's a good point, and yes, that can easily be the case.
I would actually like to table this one, since this is an 8-page supporting document, and we're all kind of guessing what it entails. All agreed there?
I'm supportive of it because of the urgency is the homelessness issue. If you want to do something about homelessness, I think you have to support this.
I don't think that this necessarily changes homelessness.
No, I think this is,
This is nothing for homelessness services.
no, this is more for second dwelling units. So let's table this, move on forward. We did public comments. Oh, sorry, Eileen.
Just before you
Yes, real
end
quick.
the evening, just really quick thing, the mayor just came up with the homeless thing that I was asked to do that I'm going to pass right on to you. And I'll give you that information, and as part of ARC, that we're, Patrick and I are both involved in, but I was able to go to the meeting. I have taken on the responsibility of setting up a series of town hall meetings, that will address all of the ballot measures that are coming up. But I will be asking, and the last bit, we'll go to the executive committee to have the full endorsement of the board and maybe just a little bit of change for water or something. Just want you guys to know that.
You're a rock star, thank you for that. Alright, board member comments, I have one. Just want to thank you all for bearing with me on this very long meeting. Figuring it out as I go along, but I appreciate it. We're excited to work forward with you guys as we go along. Anyone else have any board member comments?
Just congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, whole board.
What's up, Mark?
I have one comment, I really like the way this board flows, thank you.
Great, we're gonna keep it that way. Alright, with that, we are adjourned.
You see your balloon picture on Facebook?
So good.
Yes.
Poster fell down.
Thank you very much.
So,